shuts everyone down. That's a full team kill.
He's looking for third. He's gonna get it, sir.
Against Kinger now in a 1 versus 2. Once again, he finds one. He finds the second. He's still alive. Can he go in?
Oh my goodness.
He's gonna go far down and give Saints the lead again.
Welcome back, Saints fans, to yet one more day of HUE 22 Invitational. Once again, going to be heading over to the Rift for some League of Legends action. Going to be the St. Clair Saints taking on SUNY Buffalo, and going to be just one best of 3 today. None of the back-to-back series like before. And got myself, Daniel Jobin, and Dan Banner back on the desk today. How we doing?
Doing quite well. Looking forward to another League of Legends matchup here. The last time we saw was definitely pretty crazy there for the Saints between the Saints and GVU. However, opponent today, SUNY Buffalo. We've played them already earlier this week, and the Saints were able to take that set 2-0 fashion.
Yeah.
But, I mean, brand new day, brand new set. They've given themselves enough time to schedule like some practices and whatnot as well. So I'm very, very curious as to seeing what SUNY Buffalo is going to bring to the table this time by. Yeah,
and it was really interesting. The last time we saw St. Clair come out, they kind of got, GVU kind of had their way with them the first couple games, and they really, they battled back. They were able to take advantage of a little forfeit win, and they were able to capitalize, and they won one of their series pretty convincingly. And they had some different drafts than what we had seen before. They started to add, we talked to Ricky after one of the games as well. They said they're trying to, deepen those champ pools, try to have a little more options. And as we are going to get into the pro draft, it's going to be a Shaco, Darius, and Lucian ban coming through for St. Clair, and then Sivir, Trundle, and Jax getting banned for Buffalo. So nothing too surprising. Maybe Lucian a teeny bit surprising as a ban, but honestly nothing really out of the ordinary.
I mean, seeing Shaco just banned is, to me, is just a massive question mark.
Yeah, actually that would be the one.
Usually, Shacos are just a complete non-factor unless it happens to be a one-trick Shaco.
Yeah,
let's be honest, those are actually surprisingly deadly. I remember the Saints used to have one that could take and way back in one of the first years of the varsity team in general, and that Shaco was basically a permaban as well.
Yeah.
Because we do see picks getting underway here. Tristana and Callista going to be starting off with bot lane, apparently.
Yeah, I think Tristana did receive a couple of small buffs recently. I think either it was a direct buff or something as a result of one of the patches, but I think she might have a little more strength to her kit now, but definitely say not the most uncommon pick, but I haven't seen it out of St. Clair yet. I don't think so. I think we've seen Rockboom play the Draven and a couple other champs. I think we've seen maybe Sivir come out 1 or 2 times, and then Callista, pretty standard pick, especially in pro pay and a lot of that tournament play recently. And then Nautilus, always that solid engage support, lots of CC, just lots of health to tank a lot of shots. And once again, it's going to be the Amumu for St. Clair, so it worked out very, very well last time. Just try to hook on there and let Tristana get in. And that's the one thing, Tristana is really good at getting in and getting out, and Amumu kind of in the same vein there.
And somebody let the Nunu through, and that is going to be a surprise here. Looks like it's going to get locked in there for the Saints. Of course, from the matches that we had seen earlier versus GVU and a little bit prior to that, it seems like Nunu had permaban status. I don't know. He's always been very solid at taking objectives and just being an absolute menace.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to see a little bit of that. I don't think the Saints are expecting to be able to pick this up, but they're going to take it while they can.
Yeah, Nunu definitely a very, very solid pick, especially as, try to bring back the Disco Nunu, just fly around the map and try to get as much CC as possible. And yeah, just have a lot of lane pressure as consistently as possible. And Olaf going to come through on the top side for Buffalo, and Olaf, extremely strong pick in the meta right now, has very good counterplay against a lot of the close to range melee champs, especially you have the axe throw, the Q, and you're able to go get the reset if you're able to recover them. So Olaf, definitely a very solid pick, and we are going to see the Silas and the Aatrox ban coming through for St. Clair and Buffalo there. So definitely you can see Ricky, once again, his champ pool getting a little bit dwindled before his choice.
I mean, we did do a little bit of research ahead of time too. Apparently Aatrox was also one of them picks there from the top laner on the side of Buffalo that they just liked, and then you're telling me as well, just Aatrox in general just seems to be very, very strong at the moment. So fair enough in its own right, but another ban going to come on through the Swain and get taken off the table.
Yeah, Swain, lots of power as well right now. I can definitely understand, especially with Tristan and Amumu and Nunu. Once you get in there, you're kind of committing, and Swain just has such strong AoE damage and is able to just hit like a truck right now. So pretty standard bans on both sides. And then, yeah, as we said, St. Clair going to ban the Silas there. Silas, you can pretty much blind pick him into most of the roster right now. He just has so much power, and especially depending on what ultimates the other team run, he can definitely make a massive impact. And we're going to see the next ban is going to come through. It's going to be a Fiora.
That's a
it looks
target.
like. Yeah, so definitely a target ban. Yeah, Fiora definitely has her spot, but clearly trying to go after. I think his name was Imprisoner for Buffalo. Just trying to make sure that you target the top player, as we can see with Ricky as well. You go for the top laner's chance. That 1v1 lane can snowball so hard, and both teams.
One thing I'm wondering though, if Saints are going to ban out the Silas, are they planning on picking one of those champions that just have a extremely overly valuable ult, like a fight changing ultimate, so to speak?
Yeah. Like
your Gnar or your Hecarim kind of things. I mean, even technically the Amumu could have counted in that regards as well. The Curse of Sad Mummy being able to stun everybody in an AoE is massive in its own right. Don't want to hand that over for free. We are going to see Victor getting picked up. Safe character as per usual. Decent damage, but also got some good range on him.
Yeah, Victor, a character that if he can get fed, you can get, tanky Victor can do a lot of damage, and this is definitely St. Clair. You can clearly see they want to go in for those huge team fights. They want to create those skirmishes around the objectives, around the Herald, around the Dragons, and lots of AoE. Tristana able to get in and out, huge damage radius. Nunu there, lots of CC, and then the Victor ultimate plus the Amumu ultimate, those can be comboed very, very well together. And then we're going to see Ricky actually taking the Renekton top, so honestly, just a solid comp overall for St. Clair. Tristana's the only, I wouldn't even call it a question mark, but not as super common of a pick, especially some of the other ADCs that we've seen recently, but I think a very, very solid comp, and we actually are going to see the Set from Buffalo. Set also very, very strong right now.
I did see it get kind of banned out a little bit in the last couple of matches, so fair enough in its own right. So looking forward to seeing what the Saints end up pulling off here. Of course, Renekton is definitely no stranger for Ricky.
Yeah.
But pretty much most of these very solid picks. The biggest surprise for myself is, of course, the fact that Nunu did get let through.
Yeah.
And considering its permaban status, and then Lucian getting banned as well was a little bit interesting, considering he did not gutted, but he did get kind of toned down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did appear that Saints did a little bit of research and maybe are thinking that SUNY Buffalo like that, I guess, that Nami Lucian comp.
Yeah, I'd say, especially, and we see, Nautilus, Kalista, definitely a very solid bot lane in the meta right now. Kalista, I think a pretty high pick rate. Nautilus, as we said, just always consistently good. Lots of CC, lots of AoE effect, just able to tank a lot of shots and get in there for a lot of dive capability. And St. Clair, they definitely going to play. They want to make those skirmishes. They want to surround themselves. They want to create those team fights, because you combine that Amumu R with the Victor R. I'd say you basically just have an AoE of stun and just max damage. So you can clearly tell they want to pick up where they left off last time, because they decided the reason that they lost a couple of the games against GVU, and admittedly, Rockman even told us, he said, we kind of just lost our lanes and got out of ourselves, and then, you try to go take some jungle camps, you get picked off, you try to go make a play in the side lane, and you get dove on. So they want to make sure, hey, if we're going to fight, we want to be all together for this, and then we should be able to have the damage and the AoE to take care of it.
Okay, so I'm just taking a look at the lobby right now, actually, taking a look at the chat. So apparently there was a little bit of a fumble in the pro draft side of things.
Oh.
And I think the side of Buffalo thought they were picking, and they actually banned the character they want.
Oh.
That Azir is actually a Swain.
Oh, okay. So are they going to go through with that pick, or are they going to redraft? Do we know?
All's good.
Okay.
It's like as soon as it happens, I'm looking at the timestamps and whatnot. Apparently, as soon as it happened, they immediately went to the lobby and was like, oops, that was a mistake. That was a mistake, please.
Not like on the pro stage where you accidentally lock in like a Teemo or something, and then you're locked in. At least they're going to be willing to switch there. So yeah, Swain is going to be playing that mid lane against, I believe it was Victor. So that should be a very, very interesting mid lane match. That might be the matchup to look for. Especially Zephrot is going to be coming back and playing in this game as well under the new name of Expo. So
yeah, so whether we call him Felix or Zephrot, that's who we're referring to. Just, of course, trying new A-lists out apparently at this point here. Just getting the question if we're good to go here. Give the teams an R and let's get ourselves into this game, at least into the in-client draft, because it looks like it's happening right now.
Yeah, let's get over to somewhat of the Rift. You're going to get over into the client, and we're going to see basically what we just saw through the pro draft. Going to go one by one here. Obviously, we're going to see Ricky. The Shaco ban is going to come through again, and that's the thing. Shaco, you would never see the ban, but Shaco seems almost useless to most people, but there's always the one-trick. Shaco is one of the most dangerous one-tricks in all of League of Legends. If you know, you know. Just so annoying. In the right hands, he just seems like unkillable, insane damage. The burn damage is off the charts, so St. Clair going to ban that away. Going to ban away the Darius and the Lucian, as we said earlier, and then, of course, Trundle going to get banned through for Buffalo side. They saw Alonzo play a pretty solid series on the Trundle the other day, so going to get rid of that one. Of course, Sivir going to get banned. No surprises here. She's in either picked or banned in every single match this meta.
Pretty much. And I mean, normally when we do the pro draft, it does give us a little bit of time to kind of speculate where each of these champions end up going. However, for the most part, maybe other than the Olaf and Set, there wasn't really much that could flex, so to speak. We kind of had a rough idea as to where everybody was going already. But this does, of course, give us the opportunity to kind of introduce our opponents here tonight and, of course, our own starting lineup. And Prisoner, you're absolutely right up there in the top lane. Yeah. Chulov going to be in the jungle. Little baby cutie playing Swain. You know, one of those moments where the username just doesn't match a champion?
Yeah,
that very well that very well might be one of those cases here.
Azir wouldn't have fit much better either. So.
Absolutely. But then we have Nene as well as Young there on the bot lane side of things for Buffalo.
And then, of course, now we're going to see the correct version. The Azir band going to come through. Swain going to be played in the mid lane. Fiora band going to come through for the other side. And then, obviously, the Aatrox band around Buffaloes. And then, of course, Silas coming through on the same side. Just, again, solid champs to ban. And, obviously, both teams, these are definitely team comps that you can get some good team fights. You have some AoE. You have the 1v1 capability to try to snowball lane early on. So, both teams, they could take a different approach to this, but they could definitely get the same job done, and it'd be very interesting to see who's going to end up coming out on top or how aggressive both teams want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's take a quick guess here in terms of the scaling game. Of course, not the meme, but it gets brought back every once in a while where if you get put behind, it's okay, we scale harder.
Yeah, play for late.
In your guess, who scales harder?
It's honestly tough to say. It's playing against like a Swain and a Set in late game, even Olaf as well, could say he's tough. He doesn't scale as well. I'd say Victor is one of the most strong late game champs that you can have. If Victor gets going early on, and if Victor can snowball a lane, he can be a hyper carry. He just can do so much damage. You have the cage ability where you can kind of separate. You can zone off for objectives. He just gives you so much value, but I honestly would not be too sure. Say the Tristana damage, I would definitely prefer over the Kalista late game, like 100%. No doubt. Kalista, sometimes it's weird. She's obviously a very, very good pick, but sometimes it looks like she's just like poking at people and not really doing a whole lot, depending on the itemization or the crit or whatever she has going on. But definitely be interesting to see. But I think it'll be a very, very close back and forth. And I think laning phase is going to have a lot to do with this. But I think the Saints are definitely gearing up to like play around the objectives primarily.
Well, it definitely makes sense with, of course, Noon just being able to chunk down objectives in their own right, but at the same time, being able to have, I guess, a little bit of burst damage there from Olaf, and then having the smite, then Kallista's Rend might as well be a smite.
Yep.
Like, there is some good challenging here for objectives on both sides, so that'll be interesting to watch. And I do want to quickly apologize to everybody for tuning in. Apparently, my DJ skills were a little bit off today and had like 3 songs playing at once, so definitely sorry about that. But if it actually ended up being a banger, do let me know. And we'll go back to get that.
Get on the mix, remix it and master it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, say both teams definitely. I think the matchup that interests me the most, definitely, obviously the 2 top laners are considered the carries of the team just based on rank and performance from what we've seen so far. And I mean, just look at the target bans. There's like 5 top laners in the bans, so you get a pretty good idea of what's going on just off the bans alone. But the mid lane matchup is the one that interests me the most because both characters, lots of damage. You can build some HP items and they're really, really good for sustain. But especially that 1v1 lane matchup. But I'd say the jungle pressure is going to be interesting as well because Nunu, a little more pressure than Olaf, but Olaf, no slouch getting around the map as well.
Absolutely. And then for second time in a row here, of course, going to be Ricky on the Renekton, but it's also the second time we're going to be seeing Rafa pick up a Mumu.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a comfort pick or just solid with the times, but just making it work. We did see kind of the enforcer-ish kind of style, because it wasn't necessarily that he was the one engaging, because what was it that I was saying during the GVU matchup where his presence stopped something from happening rather than actually getting the engages.
Yeah.
It was just constantly like the front line, like, go on, challenge me, dive on me, please. And everybody will jump on you, and was able to secure a lot of objectives just from zoning.
Yeah, and that's what I think, Sinclair, I think the zoning thing is actually a really huge point because you have a Mumu. If you're in range of that queue and you don't have 2 or 3 teammates around you, you're definitely not going to walk up to him, especially if you're walking not into vision or anything. Victor, you have the cage area that can zone. Nunu in itself is a zoning character because you just know if this snowball hits me and knocks me up and anyone is close by to either flash on me or dive on me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. And especially you have the Renekton to get in there. That's what Sinclair has a really good thing of. Victor in Tristana can kind of poke from that back line, and then a Mumu and Renekton can just get in there with Nunu and try to just cause a mess. But I will say Set and Olaf, definitely 2 characters that thrive when you get in those close range engagements.
Right. And then of course, one of the greatest zoning ultimates of all time. They're on the Nunu, the absolute zero.
Yeah.
Whether it actually gets the chance to do its damage or not, like, it's still just a massive AoE slow, of course. And if you happen to still be stuck in it, oh dear, there goes your health bar. But definitely something we're going to be looking forward to. It's not necessarily dive comp from either side, really, because it's kind of what we saw a little bit versus GVU there from the Saints on the last game anyway. But I don't know. Both teams, I feel like, can team fight, but it's not going to be like a wombo combo, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, say unless the Saints are able to chain the Nunu R and the Amumu R together, because you could theoretically get 7 to 8 seconds of CC between that kit. So that'll be a very annoying for either team to have to deal with. We are going to see. Let's see what summoner spells are. Kalista going to be on the cleanse there, so definitely they're aware of the CC in the bot
Fair
lane.
enough. Yeah.
And honestly,
don't get that bandage toss.
Yeah, and say cleanse has been definitely rising in popularity as CC and all the bot lane engages have been a bigger thing. So Kalista gonna bring the cleanse there. Saint's gonna bring the ignite there for the side. So a little bit of an aggressive style. Kalista especially not really gonna do too much in the early game, especially if you're not able to chain those autos together. So just a little bit of a safe pick there. And both teams now gonna get underway. Gonna see the Saints starting on the blue side. Buffalo is gonna be on the red side, and we are immediately going to be into a quick pause. So either have to fix some kind of lobby connection or something on the other end, but both teams just a little bit more delay to get into game here.
Yeah, I got baited. I was about to make the switch over in here too, but yeah, unfortunate little pause. Going to quickly see what's going on here. Maybe someone just had a hard time connecting. We do have a PC restart, it looks like. Okay. So quick little technical difficulty on the side of Buffalo, but should hopefully be done pretty quickly. And looking, I guess, at the mid lane, we kind of talked about how it would be one of the lanes definitely to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to be rather passive in a way. Like, I know Swain can be strong, but he usually needs somebody with him. Victor is about as safe as you can get. Do you think I'm missing something? Or
no, Swain definitely has seen a rise in just like, I think he got a couple buffs maybe a few patches ago. He's definitely seen a rise in pick, especially like as a solo play in the mid lane. But obviously Victor, still one of the better mid laners in the game. He's either banned pretty consistently, or the people that are able to play him and use him effectively definitely find success. So two, I would say A or S tier picks in the mid lane, but yeah, especially that's the lane that could get away from you very quickly on either side. You don't want to feed into a Victor early because he can snowball that game faster than almost any mid laner in the game. And Swain, if he's able to get those AP or that damage items early, he can definitely cause a mess for some team fights as well. So you definitely have to play. That's the trouble. You want to play passive, and you don't want to get snowballed in lane, but you need to try to make some plays at the same time. And both teams, it's always that tricky balancing that fine line.
Absolutely. Here, of course, just don't mind me just trying to get ourselves back into the game, because of course it wouldn't be a pause without a bug immediately afterwards. So there we go. About to hop into the swing of things, and I'm curious to see how SUNY Buffalo ends up pulling this one off. I know they got O2'd by the Saints last time by, but like I say time and time again here on the broadcast, as much as I love seeing the Saints do well, I also love to see a good game. So let's see. It looks like we're actually going to hop into the swing of things in just a moment's time. Let me fix this up real quick so we can catch this live.
Finally,
let's get into it.
Yes, finally onto the rift here. SUNY Buffalo trying to take the revenge tour against St. Clair. St. Clair 2-0ing them just several days ago now. St. Clair trying to move to, I believe, 5-1 in their HUE22 League of Legends run in. Buffalo, as we said before, going to be starting on the red side. Saints going to be starting on the blue side, and both teams just hold that line of scrimmage and try to hold off any potential invades.
And I'm seeing in chat, sorry, Danners, your music was not a banger. It was a screwdriver in my ears. I am so sorry, everybody, but thankfully that is over. Now we actually have the game in action here, and we do have a relatively passive start, safe start for both sides.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't expect SUNY Buffalo to run in on St. Clair, especially after how the first two games went. And maybe I could have seen it. Maybe they're just like, hey, try to catch them off guard, try to throw something their way. But more than likely, St. Clair was going to be ready for something. Rockboom actually going to spot out and Young, a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of dancing in the bot lane river there. But obviously, no one's going to push up. You don't want to risk losing that level 1 any summoner spells or, giving a free death to the bot lane. So both teams just put some wards down, hold that line of scrimmage, and wait for the first wave to push in here.
Yeah, finally going to get underway here. So let's take a look. Where are we starting off? Jungler side, red on both sides, looks like. And then we know that Ricky is going to waste absolutely no time here trying to get aggressive. As soon as he can maybe hit that level 2 mark, hit that little combo, classic QW, then otherwise pretty slow to start this one off. A little bit of poke back and forth, but that's about it.
Yeah, the only tricky thing with playing super aggressive into set is once he gets that level 2 and level 3, his W is, you know, you think you have him, and then half of his health bar all of a sudden comes back in the flash, and he just combos you. So
True.
Very, very level 2 all in for set as well. So Ricky, a little bit of poke there, gonna get the little blade slash, gonna level up first, so maybe gonna try to put some pressure, start things off. But again, this is a lane that if either one of these laners gets ahead early, it could be an absolute nightmare for the team later. And Zephrot, good little poke there, but Swain is gonna return a little fire there, so good back and forth so far. The bot lane actually is gonna be pushed up pretty far too, so Tristana and Amumu taking the early prio there.
Yeah, there's exactly what you're talking about with the setting level 2, and all of a sudden you just have a bunch of shields, bunch of health now that you have to try and chew through, and that's no fun there for Ricky up there on the top lane on the Gator, but he might have some backup. We do see Nunu making through, and we actually have a double gank here in the mid lane. Little baby cutie has nowhere to go. Beautiful play there from the Saints, and it's still going. Ganks happening in 2 places at once here. The shield is going to give him a little bit of extra health, but not enough. Ricky alongside Alonso. We have 2 ganks and 2 kills.
And they traded, I think it was 4 for 2 as far as some spells. Swain burned both Flash and Ghost and still got taken down. So for the Saints, that's as good of a start as you could ask for. The Amumu roam mid at level 2, I actually really like that play because you hit the Q, you land the exhaust, and there's honestly really not much Swain can do. Obviously, he tried to flash Ghost out of there, but the ignite damage plus getting chunked up just way too much, especially with the Victor damage already. And getting Victor that first kill, definitely huge, and I think Ricky got the other kill as well. So getting your 2 solo lanes the first 2 kills, nice as well.
Absolutely, and I never, like for both of those plays, I never thought of Nunu as a very early ganker. We saw that. I never thought of Amumu as a very early roamer. We got that both at the same time. Dang. All right, cool. Like, what's one way to do it? And like you said, to jump start both of your solo laners, that is going to be absolutely wonderful for these one-on-one battles that I'm sure that SUNY Buffalo is going to be absolutely dreading.
Yeah, and that's why I'm sure St. Clair maybe wanted to get that bot prio early. Get the bot lane shoved under that red tower, and then immediately, say at level 2, Amumu immediately able to go roam. Nautilus is going to get the knockup. They are going to ignite Rock Boom as well. Is going to jump away with the Tristana, the ability though, so actually will escape for the time being, but Olaf should be able to land the Q and get the slow. He actually will get, Amumu will get the Vantage Toss and stun him, but Olaf will find the kill. Saints are going to find a kill, possibly in the top lane. That set health bar though, no joke. Will they find the kill? Ricky is going to go for the flash. They will get the kill as well, and Amumu actually escapes with his life in the bot lane, so all in all, just going to be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, the 1-for-1, but unfortunately here for SUNY Buffalo, that set is going to get further and further out behind here.
Yep.
The Prisoner definitely not having a fun time as of right now. Good follow-up gank there from Alonso, but honestly good on SUNY Buffalo as well to immediately just try to make that dive, catch Rock Boom all by himself while Rafa was still making his way back.
Yeah.
And like, sure, it wasn't as perfect as it could have gone, but at the same time, nobody went down, so you got it.
Yeah, you didn't want to repeat of last time where the Saints ganked top and mid at the same time, come away with a 2-for-0. So to get a 1-for-1 there, definitely not the end of the world. But the earlier that Renekton starts to snowball, even though Set is a very strong champ, you're just making it harder and harder on yourself. And Swain, especially starting off with the Dark Shield, getting that death early, not really getting the chance to stack up so far. So Victor doing a really good job so far, a little bit ahead as far as items as well. So if you're just saying, Claire, maybe you don't want to play super passive, but you know you have a slight lead right now, you just want to make sure you play a little safe.
And if I recall correctly, like Swain, like, tell me if I'm wrong by all means, but Swain doesn't really get his sustain until assault, right?
Yeah, the ult is when you start to really worry about trying to kill him and take him down easily at least. Yeah, but especially like the level 3, he doesn't really have any getaway, so he can try to flash Ghost, but doesn't really have the ability to disengage. But we're gonna see another engage in the top lane, gonna be a 2v2. Ricky is gonna fall to Olaf, gonna find the kill. Looks like it will be a double kill as well. Still lots of HP for the Olaf. Is going to land the Q, going to get the slow. Nunu is going to get the double knockup. He is going to miss the Q, but he will get the free reset with the pickup there. But actually, good little poke damage. Q is going to land once more, but luckily for Alonso, they're able to walk away with his life. But Ricky does fall to the old.
Very strong counter gank coming out there from Chulove to expect them up there in the top lane, but it looks like actually down the bot lane, one little hook is all you need, and Rafa is going to fall as Nene gets their first elimination of the day.
Yeah, Expo going to use the Victor R there. Is going to burn the flash from Swain. So Swain, once again, no flash in the mid lane. Victor, full HP and full mana pretty much as well.
That's greedy.
Might be able to find the kill. Yeah, going to land the EQ and almost going to find the kill as well. Now Swain, very low health. Ricky trying to, or not Ricky, Zephrot trying to find that laser poke in the back of the lane there, but He's going to actually maybe try to stop the recall from Cutie. And Saints, once again, a little bit aggressive in that bot lane. I could see why, but diving that close to tower, especially diving against the Nautilus is always very, very risky. Because you know, if he just hits one ability, you're locked in place.
And we could have ourselves a 3-player gank in the mid lane as well. They have to be careful though. Chulove is right around the corner. Rafa looking to find and swing there, little baby Cutie, but he's going to actually take the long way around, keep himself safe, to be honest. Just get out of harm's way. Now Chulove with the flank. Here comes 2 more on top of that. This is going to be a weird-looking 3v4.
Yeah, level 6, I believe Swain is going to walk up with that level with the R possibly available, so going to try to find some damage. Rafa is going to fall once again to the Callista, so great job by SUNY Buffalo to just roam the mid lane there with 4 and kind of call off the Saints dive. And the one thing the Saints maybe were a little bit too quick for the dive, they didn't have a wave to play against that tower, so they couldn't really make a dive without the tower chunking them, and Buffalo realizes that, swings mid, and takes full advantage to get back to the game.
And they found themselves a fantastic opportunity. It's going to be supplemented here by a dragon. It looks like first one of the game. Looking like it's going to be pretty well uncontested. Going over to SUNY Buffalo. Nicely done.
Yeah, so especially that Hex Tech Dragon. Very, very powerful, especially those individual buffs being a lot stronger now. So maybe almost a free dragon. If Nuno had walked over, maybe could have potentially tried to flip it, but he wouldn't have known, no vision on it. So Hex Tech Dragon, first one will go to SUNY Buffalo, and they've done a great job of, starting off pretty bad on that level 1 and 2, but immediately clawing their way back in the game.
Yeah, getting themselves into the lead at this point as well, just by a couple hundred as of this moment. And honestly, in regards to who has the eliminations on their team, I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest. You have 2 eliminations and an assist on both the Callista and an Olaf.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty sick. And unfortunately, though, it looks like the little baby cutie's going to have a little bit of a rough time there.
Yeah, he did burn the R as well, so just trying anything he could to get out of that situation, but no flash, no ghost available from the last couple fights. So great job by St. Clair to know that he had no summoners. The R is only going to do so much if we put 3 people on him, so fantastic job. And this looks like they're definitely trying to get the Victor ahead nice and early. We've seen a lot of mid lane presence from Alonso already. We've seen great roaming from the Olaf as well. Chulove has been all over the map right now, but you can definitely tell St. Clair they're trying to play around that Victor and Renekton so far, it seems.
He may be coming back for a little play towards the Rift Herald and towards mid, as we do see the Saints are there. Alonso, Ricky, and Zephyr all here. Gonna take this, and sure enough, not going to be challenged, so an extra piece of utility in the pocket of the Saints to just eventually dive bomb one of these towers.
Yeah, Chulove had to get the red buff there, so they knew they weren't going to probably get the contest coming through. Ricky going to be shoved a little bit, not under the tower there, but a little bit of back and forth still, just trying to hold on to that small lead, even though down in CS a little bit, but I mean, it's against the set, so set pretty quick at clearing the waves there. So far, just a lot of farming. Chulove going to take out some camps, going to go for the wolves there, bot lane. A little bit of back and forth, waiting for a Mumu to catch up, so Rock Boom not going to go in there and make any hasty decisions so far, and just a lot of farming up right now. We had a couple team fights back to back. Once those objectives go down, it kind of goes back to, all right, everyone, back to your lanes, back to your camps. Let's reset for a minute or two here.
Go home and behave, basically. go farm. And I mean, in all honesty, Rock Boom is going to absolutely love that, right? Just get further and further, like, in regards to gold, get just closer to that late game status that we know that Tristana is an absolute terror at being.
Yeah, that's the only problem, though, is if you let Callista get online early, Rafa actually is going to be in a very bad way here. Unable to get the Blast Cone. Nautilus Hook does come through. Blast Cone's back into the Nautilus, though, now. Nautilus actually is going to find the kill, so very, very good for St. Clair, considering if you don't want to give Swain the mid laner any extra kills. Does get the assist as well, going to get 1 Dark Seal stack, but now he's going to pop the R to escape Victor as well. Expo going to look for the kill. Should be able to actually find it here if he's able to put that EQ together, and he will do it and will find the kill. Now, going to see a gang top as well in Prisoner. Going to get knocked up by the Nunu. Going to get taken up by Ricky and Nunu now. Now, still half HP. That set shield, unbelievable, but he will end up falling to Ricky, and now Sephiroth going to be chased up to the top river, and he will get shut down by Olaf quick and fast.
I was going to say I was very surprised there. Felix dove on in there. Did end up taking little baby cutie down, and good job getting around the Swain ultimate. But we did just see Rafa just go down in the red side jungle, so you have to know that somebody is at least somewhat nearby still. And unfortunately there for Felix, they were able to take him down the river.
And I thought Olaf might stop his recall and try to go for a 2v1 here, guys, especially when the set TP coming through. But just going to take the recall, take his free kill, take that gold, and go item shop it a little bit, try to up the inventory there. Callista going to be on recall now. I say a lot of recalls coming through after that little skirmish, and now both teams still fighting back and forth. SUNY Buffalo up a dragon. St. Clair does still have the rift in their back pocket. Alonso sitting there with it, so maybe just trying to find the right time to use it.
The rough spot right now here for St. Clair as well is if you take a look at the level differences between Rafa and Yan here. We know Amumu has an amazing ultimate, but Rafa is still at the 11-minute mark in this game, sitting at level 4.
Yeah.
And normally if you're going to do something like that, it's because you're trying to power level your your AD carry. But to be honest, they're still just completely matched.
Yeah, and Zephrot is going to get comboed, going to flash over the wall. Olaf's going to land that second Q, I think, to get the slow, but another fight in the bot river. Alonso going to get some poke damage. Now Zephrot trying to fall back to his teammates. This could turn into a 4v3 pinch, so SUNY Buffalo actually is going to be a 4v4. Both teams jockeying, but Rafa and Rockham need to get in the fight right now. Just hung out to dry. Victor is going to fall now, and now still 4v3. Stopwatch is going to be hit for the Swain during the R. The Victor R will it get the kill? Oh, down to 1 HP. And actually, he will end up falling, so massive kill going to come through for the Victor there, and St. Clair somehow able to go 1-for-1, even though it looked very, very bad.
Yeah, unlucky there for Little Baby Cutie again there on this Swain. Granted, finding a good handful of assists on some of these plays, so at least he's not getting completely skunked in that regard, but definitely would have wanted to pick that one up and just hang in there, but unlucky that time by. But again, just with Rafa now hitting level 5, imagine that fight happens and he has his ultimate.
Yeah.
That could have possibly been maybe 2, 3, maybe a full wipe in that regards, but of course easier said than done in retrospect. And to be fair, Rafa was doing a ton of vision control, tons of roaming, and setting up plays elsewhere, which is a big reason as to why he's behind on levels. But maybe the balance just be a little bit too heavy on one side right now.
That's like the double-edged sword with Amumu. You want to roam because you can get such good presence and cause mayhem, but he's very hard to CS with and very hard to get that early XP, especially because you have like virtually no range to really get any minion kills or like get that XP extra. So, you know, you're kind of all inning with supporting the rest of the team there and sacrificing your XP. So once he hits that level 6, though, he'll definitely provide infinitely more value. Rift Herald is going to crash top. We're going to see top tower actually fall. Alonso trying to zone off the set here will do so successfully. They're going to maybe try to get a second Rift crash here. It's only set there to catch it. Actually, Swain is going to try to put up something there. Ricky doesn't know his set's in the bush. He is going to see him. Rift is going to go down. Set, you're going to get the ultimate. Will get knocked up into the air, though. He should take it taken down as well. Ricky is going to find the kill once again. Going to try to flash out. Swain going to try to find the kill. Cutie should be able to find the kill on Ricky. Not quite yet, though. R is going to work, and now going to turn his sights on Alonso. Going to force him back into the R. Going to find a lot of damage, but Alonso holding his own. Going to pop the ultimate as well. Swain should not be able to get out of it. Huge damage chunk, but Swain still in that ultimate, but he will end up falling to Expo. So once again, that Victor just getting more and more fed and keeping the Swain Darksteel stacks at 0 and a broken stopwatch.
Yeah, Expo or Felix is just looking fantastic here in this one, and to be honest, so is Alonso. May not have the eliminations, but let's be honest, you don't pick Nunu for the damage. It's the CC and the objective control, and you can see when it becomes a one-on-one and it's just up to Alonso's Nunu, he's kind of running away. He knows he doesn't have it, but hey, who else is there to back up? But Felix, we have another fight happening.
Yeah, Expo is going to be there, try to get some backline damage. Kalista, try to get off those autos. Looks like Victor actually in a very bad way here. If this Nautilus hook can land as well, there he knocked up. The Amumu R is going to come through and save Victor's life. Amumu is going to fall on the sword for Victor there. Maybe he can find the kill on Nautilus as well. If Expo knows the damage, Nautilus very, very low as well. Expo definitely has to try to run here. Going to tag up the Olaf with the laser. Going to get hit by the Q, going to get slowed, and it looks like he will end up falling. Cage will come through, but not enough in time. Exhaust did come through as well, so going to burn a summoner there. And now a couple members of SUNY going to be topside and take the scuttle.
There we go. As soon as Rafa hits 6, that's the perfect time to get that Curse of the Sad Mummy. Got all 3 of them stunned up and locked down, able to get the shutdown off of the Kalista was absolutely huge. More and more gold in the pockets of Felix in this case here, or Expo, but unfortunately giving up a shutdown in their own right over to the side. I think it finally went over to Little Baby Cutie, so finally getting an elimination. It's been a part of so many fights, but finally getting credited for one. Yeah, and if someone's able to shut down, this Olaf has a 600 gold bounty at 6-0-2. True Love has been patrolling the map right now, so Olaf gonna build a Gore Drinker along with that, gonna get the Caulfields there, so gonna be a lot of armor and a lot of AD and a lot of lifesteal there for the Olaf, but if someone's able to get that shutdown, and especially this Victor, I think he's building toward Rabadon. He's gonna go double ability staffs there, and gonna already have Leandro, so lots of burn damage. Victor clearly looking to be the one to deal that damage and make sure the team does not want to stick around for these fights, but the rest of the Saints got to try to catch up a little bit here. Tristana going to be even CS with the Kalista, just the kill pressure, obviously the big difference so far in Nautilus. 1-0 and say 6 assists as well, so both teams have had their shining moments and just really solid back and forth. SUNY Buffalo does have the 2-dragon lead though. True Love is going to be a problem if this keeps up this way too, because yes, the Saints have a lot of crowd control, stuns, slows, just absolutely everywhere. What's the one character in the game that just absolutely does not care about your CC? It's Olaf. Pop the ultimate and just charge. I don't care how many jumps you have, Rock Boom. I could just keep charging at you and making things difficult. That being said, though, we have a little bit of a gank in bot lane.
Yeah, it looks like Victor will end up finding the kill. Swaynar did come through, but not going to find any kills. Rafa and Expo both low HP, but they are going to escape with their lives. Most important thing there. We're going to see some topside pressure. Actually, Olaf going to be lurking in that T2 tower, or T1 tower. Going to try to find the hook with Nautilus, maybe. Going to try to land the Q on Rockboom. He is going to miss, but Rockboom definitely has to play safe here. 3 members of SUNY Buffalo going to be dedicated to this mid tower, and they are going to end up taking it. And now it looks like maybe they're going to send a gang top, but Ricky, maybe they have vision. Maybe he'll be aware of it. Yeah, going to fall right back to the tower, so...
I'll tell you what, this SUNY Buffalo squad looking absolutely fantastic, but that's someone you don't want to face check. Unfortunately, Ricky running back towards the tower, but he's not going to have very much time for himself. Going to try and go for the one-on-one while he still can, but unfortunately, that is a 3v1. I don't care how good you are. You're going to have a hard time with that one.
Yeah, and great job by SUNY Buffalo to evenly tank those tower shots. Olaf taking just enough to survive there. Callista tanking 2 and Nautilus tanking 2. Just excellent job there to realize, hey, Ricky's on an island, and when he jumps into that bush and they get that first hit in that slow, that's when they're like, okay, it's go time now. We're going to go for this kill, and just great job on the dive there.
Okay, so the Saints are going to go even in regards to towers right now. They lost their mid. They traded their middle pretty much right back. But still, so far, SUNY Buffalo doing a little bit better in that regard. Of course, fortunately, it is going to be even. We don't have our bottom anymore,
yeah,
but they don't have their top lane. So, okay. We're even in gold in regards to tower eliminations. To be honest, this game is basically even. We have pretty well exactly at this moment here. SUNY Buffalo, considering this is a matchup from Monday, it sounded like was rather convincing in the Saints' favor. I would not have guessed that for the way this game's gone so far.
Yeah, especially just looking at the objectives alone. SUNY does have the first 2 dragons, and they do have the Rift Herald in the back pocket. Looks like they're going to start a fight behind the pit here. Olaf is going to get locked up. They are going to see, he's going to pop that R and be immune.
Yep.
Is going to rock that backline. Set's going to dive in. Ricky is going to find the, or Zephyroth finds the kill on the Olaf, gets the shutdown. Swain going to find a couple though. Going to find 2 kills, looking to find 3 or 4 here. Ricky and Alonso just trying to run away here. Double kill coming through for the Swain. Luckily, the shutdown does go to the victor, but as far as the rest of the fight goes, SUNY, they're going to take that fight all day, and they should be able to take this 3rd dragon as well, pushing them to soul point.
Unfortunately, Expo got popped pretty well immediately, being the one who ended up face-checking it. If Alonso goes down here, this dragon is pretty much toast, but I like that SUNY Buffalo immediately just pulled off the dragon. We're not even going to attempt to try to like 50-50 it up against a Nunu, and sure enough, that is going to be a delayed ace, I do believe, for SUNY Buffalo, and they're without question going to take this dragon.
Yeah, I don't love the idea of Ricky and Nunu there to try to push that, especially with half HP. If they're both full health, maybe you try to get in there and flip it, but considering the HP and knowing the respawn timers of your teammates, like they're not going to be up in time to back you guys up in the slightest, and there's no TPs available, so not really the best idea. You pretty much just gave 2 more kills. Now the Swain's got a bounty. Callista gets another kill under her belt. Olaf still 7 kills, and Olaf still has the Rift Charge in his pocket as well. So SUNY Buffalo, they are loving the state of this game right now.
A big problem that happened there for the Saints too is because Chulov was so far forward, it did force the Saints to take the fight maybe a little bit sooner than they were expecting. Rafa's ultimate was on the verge of coming off of cooldown, but by the time that it did finally become available, 2 of the Saints were already down, and did fire it off anyway to try to turn the fight, but unfortunately, if Chulov didn't force the Saints to start their fight early, you delay that for a couple extra seconds, and Rafa has that ult for that team fight, that could have looked way different.
Yeah, the Mumu R is almost like a mandatory need for the Saints to get in these team fights, because if they're going to commit to this engage, especially with that Olaf R just being able to just, like you said, ignore, just walk through like, I don't care about any of this. You really need that AoE stun, especially all 5 members were grouped up right behind that pit, especially when the Set dives in there, the Nautilus hooks in there, or he tries to get the CC stun. That Mumu R is almost critical to what the Saints want to do in those team fights, and Rift is going to get dropped. It looks like toward the top side tower there, so we'll try to even out the lanes here, try to get Prio. They are going to have a pretty, going to have 4 members are going to be there as well, so Rift is going to charge in. The tower's still not down yet, but the Rift should be able to finish things off there. They are going to steal the top side blue, though. Turret is going to now fall Saints, trying to skirmish around the buff, but looks like Rockboom Ricky are going to be in a 1v1 with Cutie. We'll be able to find the kill. The Swain are a little bit of extra speed. Ricky is giving chase, though, trying to get those auto attacks, and Swain, very good back and forth. Ricky should be able to find the kill, and he will. Saints still skirmishing on this top side, though, and looks like it'll be 3 in the river, and Nunu is going to give chase, but Baron, just say vision top side for Buffalo on the Baron.
As I say, the Saints have to be careful not to take an engage that they do not have the upper hand in, because they do that again. Okay, giving up a dragon, sure, that's rough to begin with. This is awful positioning right now if they get pinched like this.
Yeah, and Prisoner, if Prisoner is able to fall pretty quickly, the Saints actually could turn this fight, and it looks like they will. Nunu should be able to find the kill, or actually, Victor is going to fall to the Kalista. Renekton will come through with the kill as well, so going to be a 1-for-1, and the Saints should be able to take this mid tower as well. So honestly, considering how the Saints were in very bad spot there, not the end of the world for as a result, but Nautilus is going to find the knockup. Nunu ult is going to come through, not going to find anything, unfortunately. Kalista finds a kill. They're going to find a couple. Trades are going to go through. Chulov's going to find the kill on Roth, and now Alonso tries to dive back in. Rockboom trying to get out of there. Not enough damage. Kalista going to find her second of the fight, and just like that, SUNY Buffalo, they could definitely turn this game on its head and start to run away with it.
Holy moly, right there. That was absolutely fantastic positioning from Nene as well as the rest of the side of SUNY Buffalo to make sure that the tanky ones were the ones taking the hits. There was a lot of low health bars there, but it was on the support and the tank. That's exactly who you want being hurt to begin with. Nene had all the time in the world to just maximize what, of course, Kalista is known for, just constantly kiting and dancing all over the team fight. So much damage, bunch of additional kills, and a Baron for their troubles.
Yeah, say pretty much going to be a free Baron set. Going to TP into the pit there just to make sure they're able to secure it now. They say they have Cryo on top wave and bottom wave. Mid wave still kind of stagnant, but they still have their bot side turret as well. So SUNY Buffalo definitely in position to seize control of this game, especially when that 4th dragon comes up. You know, St. Clair's almost forced to kind of all out for that dragon, and Buffalo knowing that they might be able to set up some kind of trap play or either go split push and maybe take an inhibitor. And because if you're Buffalo, you might be willing to give up that 4th dragon. If you can take it 2 towers and an inhibitor or something along those lines and kind of get equal value, you can just be like, okay, we'll play for soul point on the next one. We can give, especially if it's one of the dragons that might not help St. Clair as much, you might just be like, okay, we'll sack that and go take an inhib instead.
Exactly. The ball is in SUNY Buffalo's court at this point. They could force the team fight at the Dragon Pit if they really, really want to. But yeah, they don't necessarily have to. They do exactly like you said. As we see, looks like Ricky going to get jumped on here in the bot lane. There's 3. He's all by himself. He's going to probably have to just end up going down in this regard. Caught out with nowhere to go. Can he bring somebody with him? Does not look like it's going to be the case this time. By Chulov going to get their 9th elimination here on this one. At the same time, 9th elimination going over to Felix as well there on the Victor.
Yeah, St. Clair, no choice at this point. Just looking at the scoreboard and the items zone, they're going to have to play around this Victor, and he is going to build Grievous Wounds, going to have the Oblivion Orb, just try to stop the Gore Drinker. Say Olaf going to go Maw of Malmortius, Death Dance, and I believe it's, I can't think of the other item, especially when it's on cooldown, but all sustain, all lifesteal, all, hey, I'm going to land these autos, Gore Drinker, that's what it was, and I'm going to get back in this fight and basically be unkillable. Now we're going to see, mid lane is going to get pushed in with the Baron Wave. They should be able to take possibly 2 towers. The Saints might be there to try to contest, so Rafa is going to be there. Going to get hooked by the Nautilus, so going to be the knock of Kalista in a fantastic spot to deal damage from the side there. Going to get stuck over. Now the Nunu going to try to find the ulti, it looks like, or not yet, but Nautilus is going to hit with the Ignite. A lot of low damage. Actually, the ulti did come through. The kill will go through on the Nautilus. Now Rockham going to try to jump over and find the kill. Kalista just skirting away with the autos there, trying to, now they're going to turn the fight. Alonso trying to run away. Rockham is going to find the kill. Massive shutdown on the Kalista. Set ultimate is going to come through. Going to find the kill with W there. And on the backside there, Chulov looks like he might actually fall to Ricky. Ricky might have a pocket full of gold here. And actually, Rockboom will get the kill. So definitely good to get that ADC some gold and online as much as possible.
I feel like these two heroes, these 2 champions here from the side of SUNY Buffalo, though, are the ones who could probably turn this. Little baby cutie trying to bait out the ultimate, I think, here from Expo. Gonna just Zanya's his way out of this one, but one more shot will do the deal. Did he run out of mana? He flashed him, but he had no mana. Is going to get one more Q. And there it is.
Yeah.
Going to get it. It looked a little bit scuffed, to say the least there. But the Saints are going to capitalize on that one after SUNY Buffalo basically trickled into that fight like it was overtime during Overwatch game.
Yeah, that whole fight between Ricky and, or not Ricky, I keep saying Ricky for the mid lane, Expo and Baby was kind of weird in general. I don't know if the Swain did use the flash in the bush there, I think trying to dodge the laser, but I'm not sure Expo actually had enough mana to hit that second E, so maybe then both ended up using their flash, and I think Expo might have burned the ghost as well. So a lot of summoners getting burned back and forth, but St. Clair, that's exactly the team fight they needed. They were able to get the dragon. They get a couple of shutdowns. No more bounties on the side of the of SUNY Buffalo there. Again, Victor already has Void Staff, Leandries, Rabadons. Now he's gonna, I think, get a build into Zonia's, has a stopwatch there. So the Victor is what you, as Victor's gonna be your win condition this game, and getting Tristana a little bit of gold too was definitely huge. They need some more damage.
That's the thing. I don't know if just the tanky members on this side of SUNY Buffalo just have that much gold if they're so tanky. Because I was watching Rockboom's auto attacks during that, and I don't know if he was just getting unlucky with no crits or what, but it felt like he was doing very, very little damage. Ricky is going to get absolutely jumped on here. I can't see him getting out of this one alive unless he makes me eat my words. Okay, he's going to get out of there. The Gator is running as fast as possible, but this team fight is going to keep on going. No more mid tower here for you to play with as well. Expo's caught on the wrong side of this team fight, going to get taken down as well. They are going to trade out at least 2 eliminations, and this is still going down. Rockboom is still in this. Going to use the jump immediately so he gets the reset as well. Nowhere to go, Nene. You're going to get shut down.
Triple kill coming through for Rockboom, and that Victor R was absolutely massive. That thing the entire time, I think the Amumu R went in, and then the Victor R was just chunking the entire team of Buffalo, and Tristana hop in, hop out, able to find 3 kills. Now Rockboom really getting online with that CS and that gold, and once again, Victor just setting up the play there for everything. And then now St. Clair, even though you were down a bunch of dragons and down some gold before, now you're definitely fought your way back into this game.
Yeah, they're definitely down in regards to like having a couple extra buffs due to like SUNY Buffalo getting their first initial dragons. But otherwise, this is still a situation where anybody could win any team fight.
Yeah.
This is absolutely like, basically identical from this point. Like, okay, yeah, the Saints are up by 1,000, but this late into the game, that is absolutely nothing. Like maybe 1 component. That's not a lot of stats to say the least here. So everybody's pretty much fighting on a completely even playing field. With Baron about to come up in 1 minute, that's going to be the battleground. This river is going to get crazy.
Yeah, and the one good thing at least about Rockboom in the bot lane there is that even though they're falling behind in kills, the CS numbers definitely stayed high. Rafa's got to get out of here. This could be a very big issue. Q is going to land, and Lutzy's able to flash over the wall. Doesn't have flash up, actually. Is going to have to hit the stopwatch there, but as soon as he comes out of stasis there, he will end up falling to Buffalo, and that is definitely a kill that hurts if you're St. Clair losing your support just like that, but they are going to turn on set as well, try to find the kill. W is going to come through. Nunu going to try to find the lockup. Nene should fall out after he goes out of stasis. Rockboom with the double buffs. Kill is going to go through for Rockboom. Now the Nunu R is going to come through. Decent enough damage, but honestly, actually not that much damage, all things considering. All members of Buffalo very, very healthy. Look at the Nunu just tickling at Swain as she runs toward the enemy inhibitor there.
Yeah, exactly. Alonso unfortunately does not do any damage here as his Nunu, more so of a tank than anything else. But it was a little bit awkward. Unfortunately, Rafa just forced the fight when it did not necessarily have to happen. Alonso going down would pretty much guarantee this Baron over to the side of SUNY Buffalo. And sure enough, I think slowly but surely, slowly chunking away at this Yeti. Finally going to take him down. It's going to be the Nautilus of all things to actually get it. And look at that, immediately. Yeah. Go to the Baron. You have nobody who can challenge this.
Yeah, Rockboom is going to be there. Actually going to jump into Swain there. Very aggressive play by Rockboom. Swain going to hit the stopwatch. Rockboom with a double knockback. Might be able to find a kill or two. Actually, very good distance. Victor on the back line there with massive poke. Amumu going to come in with the R and the Q. Victor going to find 2. Saints still rolling. Olaf and Nautilus both going to find kills as well. Stopwatch going to go in for Rockboom. Will he come out of it? We're going to find yet another kill. Now Nyong versus Rockboom. Rockboom is going to win the fight and shut down the Olaf. Double kill for Tristana. I think 3 total in the fight, and somehow St. Clair in a 3v4 stopped the Baron and saved this game from falling apart.
That, I'm so surprised they're going to get away with this. And if they can get the stun onto Nene, that could be curtains as well. You see Rockboom's trying to bait him out a little bit here. So it lets Ricky just do additional damage, but have that ignite on you as well is going to make things extremely difficult. You can't dance if you're stunned, and somehow, with Rockboom in the lead of the charge there as the AD carry, who is not supposed to be leading the charge usually in terms of a team fight. Was that a 2-4?
I think, yeah, the first Baron fight was a 3v4, absolutely. SUNY Buffalo definitely had numbers, and now they're going to get a free Baron for their trouble as well, so St. Clair literally just completely turns the game on its head. They get the 2k gold from the Baron, they're just about going to get topside scuttle as well, and now Rockboom 280 CS to Callista's 220, and now the kills are starting to even out. Victor, obviously, but Tristana, the one thing, fat bounty on her head. They have to do their best to make sure she doesn't dive in there and get taken out, because that could be a very huge play for someone on Buffalo.
Yeah, that worked that time, but don't do it again.
Yeah, that was risky the first time.
Like, my head hurts from just it getting ready to explode. It was an absolutely amazing play. Rockboom played that perfectly, don't get me wrong, alongside the rest of the Saints as well. But that is so risky.
Yeah, calculated but risky.
My goodness. But beautiful in its own right. Dragon's going to be the next thing for contention here. With the Baron buff on the Saints, it is going to put things into their favor ever so slightly. And True Love could be the first one to get caught up here.
Alonso was very lucky that Nautilus hook missed. Now they are going to target the Swain, try to get that damage out of the fight immediately. Nunu is going to be focusing. Swain is going to fall to Rockboom. Rockboom going to jump to safety with double buffs. St. Clair absolutely steamrolling Buffalo in this fight. Triple for Tristana. Will she find the Quadra? Looks like she will. And St. Clair absolutely rolling the team fight. and they might be able to end the game off this push.
This is the exact kind of environment they would want, right? Something close quarters like that. Yes, Chula was able to pop the Ragnarok and dive on in, and Expo nearly did end up going down because of that. But as soon as Rockboom got the initial elimination, reset those rockets, jump to the high ground. There's nothing an Olaf can do. You can't climb the cliff as Olaf. And with that, the Saints are going to take what was a back and forth and very even game and take the victory here in game 1.
One team fight can change the world, and Tristana getting those resets in the middle of that fight, able to find a triple kill in one fight. And that's the crazy thing. Rockboom had a pretty quiet first half of the game, and the second that he starts to turn, get those items, that huge CS lead finally coming through, and then just those backline team fights. And Zephyros that game, he was like the mainstay of that game. He was every single team fight, just the focus of the team, and such a good job to win that early game at least and give St. Clair the chance to come back in the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, with Felix being so ahead, like that was pretty much the primary target for Chulov over and over and over again. And because of that, it did allow Rockboom to have maybe a little bit of like an extra second or two in that team fight, knowing that it wasn't the first target on everybody's mind. Because similar to what I was saying before, initially, like we saw Rockboom doing damage to some of these tankier members, and it didn't seem like a lot. It was just like tickling. Yeah. But it took that one triple or that quadra that ended up happening down by the river where Rockboom just sent it and got away with it and pulled it off beautifully. But after that last team fight, it was surprising to see how much additional damage both him and then Felix did, and everybody else just locked the team down to let them go nuts. Yeah,
it's crazy what a couple of those objective bounties and some shutdowns will do. We saw St. Clair basically, just poking and tickling at SUNY the team fight before, and then 1.5 fights later, you get Tristana, I think it was like 1.5k gold in her back pocket in 2 team fights or something in that ballpark, and all of a sudden, you just have all the items you need. Victor rushed the Rabadons, had Leandries early on, just had that burn damage, that consistent poke, and just excellent teamwork by St. Clair. Even they say the Amumu early on kind of struggled to find his footing, had to wait till he got that R, but eventually just mainstay every single team fight they're able to get in there. And all it takes is 2 team fights at the right time and you can spin a game, and they did just that.
Absolutely. Taking a look at some of the statistics here from that battle, the most damage in that game did go over to Expo, to Felix there on the Victor. Just between the early mid game to pretty much like early late game was just, of course, the primary focus, was doing so much damage, whether it be finding the eliminations himself or setting people up. It's all over the place, 13, 7, and 14 in that regard. Alonso absolutely all over the place as well. Maybe not necessarily on the kill feed, but set pretty well everybody up. 18 assists for themselves. Same thing with Rafa, like 0, 10, and 19. You played your role. You did exactly what you needed to do. And just locked everybody down. On the side of SUNY Buffalo, though, there's a lot of high damage dealers in this case as well. Chulov had a very standout game on Olaf, but just some of the mobility there from the Saints was just too much to deal with at the end of it. And then Nene, very close as well. If the Saints weren't able to lock Nene down, some of those team fights could have been way different. Yeah, and that's the only thing with the Saints having just a little more range in general for those team fights. See the Olaf, fantastic all-in, but once that Olaf gets shut down, and if Callista's kind of left on her own, she's not really... We saw that last fight, her versus Ricky. She just really... There was no chance she was ever going to win that fight. Yeah, you need somebody in front of you.
Yeah, and that was a pretty fed Callista with a decent amount of items, but the damage just doesn't hold up against some of those champs in the late game. But we see Rockboom, that Tristana, when she gets online and gets some items, when you get that jump reset as well, just able to fly around the fight, and that was the one thing. The Saints just, they had the mobility. When they were able to disengage, they were able to peel back and just completely clear those fights out.
Absolutely. With that, we're going to take a very, very quick break here in just a moment's time. I'm going to get the lobby all set up for game number 2. I promise not to hit you with the hottest of mixtapes here this time. We'll get some actual music this time here for all of y'all. But an exciting game 1. Can they match that for game number 2? We'll see in just a moment.
And welcome back from our very quick intermission with some HUE 22 League of Legends action. St. Clair able to have a pretty good comeback victory against SUNY Buffalo in Game 1. Winning a couple big team fights there at the end and taking it. Now up 1-0, trying to close out the series and going to be into the pro draft screen here once again. Immediately going to see the Shaco one-trick ban going to come through. Sivir, Jackson, Darius, same three we saw last time. Going to be a Kalista ban this time for St. Clair, so that early game Kalista definitely paid off for Buffalo, but severely struggled as the game went on. So maybe not the most surprising of a ban, considering her pick rate and everything. But if I was St. Clair, I'm not sure that's an area I would have been too terrified of.
I mean, we were kind of talking about it during the break, right? It just unfortunately, even in a 1v1 scenario after a fed Kalista, it felt like it did nothing. Unfortunately, like Ricky wasn't fed, and he still tanked everything. Yeah. I don't know if that's just the patch we're on or what, but. Might have not been necessarily the tool this time by, but they're going to avoid it completely and actually look to opt for Sejuani.
Yeah, gonna first pick Sejuani top. Say the Trundle ban did come through for Buffalo, so once again gonna target Alonso's Trundle. I know he's pretty adept on it there, and obviously the Ricky or the Jack's gonna be the counter ban for Darius there, and of course Sivir just always banned in every single game unless she's first pick. But Sejuani is gonna be the first pick, so maybe if we see it top, I don't know if we've seen Ricky play the Sejuani at least in the last couple games, so definitely interesting pick. She's been pretty popular in the top lane. There's a lot of CC and a lot of stun, even though it's not like massive AoE stun. You can definitely target single champions, and maybe that's going to be their goal. And actually going to see a first pick Tristana coming through for Buffalo, so maybe try to give Rockman a taste of his own medicine from last game.
I don't hate that. However, how much value do Buffalo have on the Nunu? It is still up as of this moment.
True.
Saints could very well pick it unless Buffalo has plans for it right here, right now. We'll have to see, but it is nice to see that Buffalo is going towards, I guess, a higher impact late game AD carry than what Kalista was able to pull off. Yeah,
Tristana can be tough to get online sometimes, but man, when she gets going, and after we saw, she gets a couple shutdowns, and that's actually, Tristana Rakan, so not a bad bot lane indeed. Rakan, very, very strong as support, and Tristana, we obviously know, get some gold in her pocket, get her a couple kills early on, and she can definitely snowball the lane. So, gonna have to see what St. Clair wants to answer with. Say, just so far, I think gonna be the Sejuani top. I don't think that'll be a jungle flex pick, but I guess we'll see as the next pick rolls through. Aatrox still on the board. We know both top laners really like to play Aatrox, and the ban hasn't come through, so curious to see if he comes through. We're actually gonna see Kaisa for St. Clair, so she's in a bit of an interesting spot. I think she just recently got a buff as well, so maybe St. Clair trying out a little bit of a new comp here that we've seen.
I can just picture LS just turning over and moaning right now. Just, of course, just crying that, why do people pick Kaisa? But at the same time, though, still very, very solid in our own right. Going to be looking forward to seeing what Rockboom can do with this champion. And the support side of things, Nautilus was left open, and actually Saints are going to snag it.
Yeah, Nautilus definitely a solid pick of support. Never really, not really bad with any team comps necessarily. Say just having tons of CC, and Buffalo is going to.
Fair.
They're going to blind the Sylas mid, which honestly, Sylas one of the better mid lane champions in the game, very versatile, and say a couple ultimates that he might want to steal from the Saints side. So pretty good pick overall, Sylas. I mean, you never really can go wrong in this meta, and looks like it'll be a Cassiopeia ban coming through from Buffalo in the 4 spot as well. So now we have to see. St. Clair still waiting on a mid lane and most likely a jungler. They are going to ban the Fiora once again. So a lot of top lane champions being targeted. And still, like we said, looks like it'll still be the jungle in the or not the support. Yeah, jungle pick definitely still have to come in the mid lane. That's what it is.
I could definitely imagine wanting to pick up the Sylas as soon as you saw that Sejuani was locked in. That would be a fun ultimate to try and steal, to say the least, or even just like zipping around the battlefield with Kaisa. Like that could be kind of funny too.
Yeah.
And we are going to see the double mage ban actually coming out here from Buffalo. They got rid of the late scaling capabilities of the Cassiopeia, and they're not going to let Zephyrard or Nexpo rather try that Victor play again.
And I think St. Clair decided they had enough of True Love on that Olaf, and honestly, I don't blame them. Olaf was the glue keeping that team together for a lot of those fights, just chunking all the CC with the R, and say he got very, very fed, and it was just unfortunate. 1 or 2 team fights went the other way, just not quite enough mobility, but True Love was outstanding last game on the Olaf, so just 2 respect bans coming through in the 5 spots, and honestly 2 champions that are like kind of broken in their own rights once they get going, so just 2 solid bans from both teams. And now Buffalo gonna be picking R4 here. Got curious to see what they're thinking. Looks like they want to maybe go for some engage with the Sylas and the Rakan, and it's actually going to be a Hecarim, so they're going to try to go for that mobile unit, try to get a lot of knock-up, create that lane pressure everywhere, and try to scatter St. Clair around the map.
Definitely, and of course one of the hardest hard engagers you could probably get.
Yeah.
Between the charge on his third ability as well as the ultimate, could definitely just dive in regardless of where somebody is in a battlefield, it seems. Just dive on in and take you down. But we'll have to see The Saints try to answer with here. In theory, that Silas could go top or mid, more than likely mid.
It'll be mid for
But
sure, yeah.
we'll see in just a moment's time on the last one. But Aatrox left open for this long. You know Ricky's not going to say no.
Yeah, and I said when I didn't see the Aatrox ban, I was almost certain that one of the top laners was going to end up taking Aatrox. Now it looks like Buffalo will have the chance to counterpick into the Aatrox. Silas, who in this meta definitely not going to be flex top. They're going to play a mid lane 100%. So I'd be curious to see what they want to go with top here, especially with the Olaf ban. Olaf plays decently enough into Aatrox because you can get the Q from far away, get the slow, and he's got very good ability to trade those autos. Actually going to be Vigar in the mid lane for St. Clair. So once again, Vigar, kind of just a solid pick all around in the last 2 patches, can do a lot of damage. The cage gives you so much zoning for objectives, so just really solid overall pick, and he can kind of slow down that Silas all in, although, and Silas can take that R. Actually going to be a Rumble top, it looks like, so gonna go for that damage, and Aatrox gonna have to actually gonna be, ooh, the Yone.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna hang on a second because they're going all over the place.
I'll say, yeah, Wukong would make a lot more sense than Yone and Rumble to me. Wukong, very, very strong right now.
Yeah,
Definitely,
okay,
yeah, he has the all-in ability. He's got the ability to use the W and get away. So, pretty solid draft from both teams overall. Just a little bit of different ideas, but say solid picks overall.
And I mean, looking at how Zephyr played on the or at least his scoreboard from last time, he was basically swallowing souls. Now he's got the character that absolutely does that canon-wise.
Yeah.
So it is going to be fun to see how this Veigar happens this time by considering it used to only pick Veigar when it was like an anti-mage, where if there was a heavy AP composition, you'd be able to really abuse your ultimate's ability.
Yeah.
But no, Veigar just nowadays seems to just be that good, to
Yeah.
say the least, and I'm excited to see what he does on it.
Yeah, and especially any character that has wide AoE either to stun or zone is super huge right now, because playing around those dragons and those drifts, we can see the game is almost in a pattern of nothing happens, an objective goes up, and then everything happens all at once, and then it kind of lulls back down. And not that that wasn't the case before, but with so much gold being added to the Herald and those dragon buffs just being so much better now, you're kind of forced to play around the objectives. And honestly, if you want, it's a pretty good win condition for even if you don't have, maybe you got outdrafted a bit, but those buffs can definitely come in handy. So both teams got the little bit of AoE, you're going to always see a little bit of engage, but it looks like St. Clair just, say, the Vigar mid, and Ricky on the Aatrox, so it's definitely, a comfort pick, but say Wukong was a solid pick into it as well.
Yeah, there's still a lot of control here for the Saints via their composition. Sejuani going to bring a lot, maybe not to the same extent of Nunu, but still kind of makes up for it with a little bit of extra damage on top of it. Bring the Nautilus is going to be a huge change as well. Not going to have to rely on like having your ultimate up to be able to make your effect.
Yeah,
like,
not feeling useless until level 6 to a degree.
That too. If you like playing that roaming support style, I feel like this Nautilus is just going to feel better overall.
Yeah.
And then we saw versus GVU how effective that Veigar can be in just zoning, let alone damage, with that big stun cage. So going to be looking forward to that. But then at the side of Buffalo, they're not going to be slouching either.
Yeah, I could see the Sedge and Vigar being a very, very good duo. Sedge, get that knockback into the side of the cage. Because, we saw GVU put on a Vigar clinic against St. Clair, and there was at least like 7 to 8 kills where somebody maybe wasn't even in the outside of the cage for the stun, but they would get knocked back into it, or they'd be forced into it or zoned off by somebody else. And Vigar hits you with a full combo. He's got a couple AP items. You're going to feel that one all day and night. And so far, St. Clair, they want to go for those high damage mid laners so far, which I can understand, especially against Silas. Silas, he wants to get that all in. He wants to jump on you with the chains, and he wants to slap you around. But Vigar, just keep the distance, try to get that poke damage. And for team fighting, definitely a really, really good pick.
Yeah, we'll confirm where everybody's going right here, right now. I think we have a good idea, but just in case anybody wants to throw us for a loop, let's take a look through here, because I haven't seen Aatrox jungle.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah, no, it's got to be Sedge. That's
Yeah, that would be a little bit weird to say the least here, but I feel like on the side of Buffalo, they're going to be a little bit in rough shape in regards to the one-on-one abilities. I feel like I've seen Ricky tackle the Wukong matchup with Aatrox a handful of times, and then looking at Expo in the mid lane, of course, even if he doesn't have to get aggressive, it does not matter. Infinite scaling there on that Veigar just by last hitting. The bot lane, I feel like, is where a ton of this impact is going to be. But, or if there is a chance, or not that there's a chance, but the best bets, rather, for the side of SUNY Buffalo would probably be to look towards that bot lane.
Yeah, because the Aatrox very hard. Wukong is very, very good right now, especially in the top lane instead of the jungle. I think that's probably his better spot for the time being, and we've seen a lot more of that the last couple months as well. And Aatrox though is just such a hard, especially when you go melee into melee champ. Wukong, say he can jump and all in. Saying Aatrox similar ability with the Q there. He can get a little bit of increased range, but Aatrox, very, very hard character to kind of like bully out of lane, especially with another melee champ. So it'll probably be a pretty even keeled stalemate back and forth in the top lane there. So yeah, it's going to be the Sejuani and the Hecarim are going to be, I think, the two like linchpins to try to either create lane pressure for the bot lane, because we see Rockboom gonna lose the Tristana to Buffalo this game, so maybe they saw something they like. They want that little bit of mobility in those team fights, and then definitely interesting though. St. Clair, I don't think we've seen the Sejuani Kaisa Vygar combo, at least from the last couple of games. So I think we've seen the Nautilus and the Aatrox, but got a different little combo in the middle of the map there.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen Kaisa there for the Saints for a good while, not since maybe like a semester or two ago, where she was actually like stupid good.
Yeah,
if you know, like overpowered and such. So it's going to be interesting seeing Rock Boom on it. We've not, of course, seen it at all during HUE Fest, at least any of the streamed games, of course. But then, like, the ball is now in Buffalo's court if they want to try and play around that Tristana.
Yeah.
In a very similar fashion to what happened there with the Saints, because, of course, it took a long time for Tristana to really get online there.
Yeah.
Rock Boom literally had to dive in versus 4, acts like the tank, and get essentially 3 or 4 eliminations alongside the rest of the Saints to pull that off, and then was hitting like a truck.
Yeah, you got to be a certain kind of player and have a certain kind of mentality to play Tristana and play her like that when you're like, okay, listen, it's all or nothing right now. I'm gonna jump in here and try to get these resets, or I'm gonna jump in there and the team fight's gonna end immediately because our damage is gonna be gone. So very, very risky pick, especially jumping. The Vygar might be a pretty good pick into her as well, though, because you can keep her, like, that jump won't cover the entire distance of the cage. So you can use that to kind of zone her off and keep her out of the way, especially if she's trying to go for those resets and everything. And having that heavy damage just to try to keep everybody in one place and get that heavy damage and say, we have a decent amount of CC between both teams, but not quite as much as we saw last game, I would say. But a lot more mobility in both jungles this time around. So I think we're going to see a lot more maybe level 2, level 3 ganks, and try to see a lot more like trying to win a lane earlier on and then try to snowball instead.
And then up in the top lane, I feel like for both of these players, not just Ricky, who we know loves to try and do this, but for Imprisoner as well, with the matchup being pretty even for the most part, this does allow for outplay potential. And I'm going to be extremely excited to see that. We know Ricky loves to try it. 1v1, 1v2 sometimes, depending on the scenario. We'll absolutely go for it there, but I don't want to sell him prisoner short as well, because of course that Wukong is very, very known to mind games with the clone. Yeah,
and both of them, I think we're going to see, I think both of those guys are going to go for a solo kill maybe at some point, even before level 4 or level 5, because the back and forth and the trades for both characters would definitely be, it would be a very, very close fight considering it was an equal trade, and both champs had the ability to hit like trucks. Even in the early game, they have, the abilities. Wukong use the W to try to mess with the Aatrox, either get out of the stun or try to avoid the Q, and then obviously, the Hecarim. I wouldn't be surprised though if Hecarim is probably going to start blue, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he would go for the early bot gank, especially St. Clair. They tried to get bot prio really early last game, they got it, and they immediately sent the support to roam, so maybe Hecarim is there to try to counter that, stop that level 2 roam, because earlier it resulted in St. Clair getting 2 or 3 kills before the 3 or 4 minute mark.
Yeah, one additional thing I'm going to be kind of worried about that I didn't think about till later because it was picked last, but in the mid lane, can Silas just basically one-shot Veigar with his own ultimate?
I'd be curious to see. Depends. I think depends how Zephyr wants to go about building Vygar. You can build a little more of a tanky Vygar, or he could just say like he did with the Victor and just go, I'm gonna go like Leandri's Rabadons or go Luden's Rabadons or something, and just try to go all AP and be that like use Aatrox and Sejuani to get in there and kind of tank shots, and then Vygar sits at the back line, almost like the Tristana in the last game. You sit at a safe distance. If you land that combo, they're gonna feel it.
Okay, even whether it's either it's Expo or even if I'm Rock Boom, I'm kind of nervous now, because if everything lines up correctly, I feel like the little baby cutie there on the Silas could absolutely delete me off the field before I even have a chance to say anything. Yeah.
Yeah, Silas strong enough as it is, so you definitely want to make sure not that you can choose what ultimate he's going to get, especially if you're the Saints. You want to try to like force him to try to burn that R in ways he necessarily didn't want to, or maybe even have someone try to protect the president, jump in front of someone just to try to stop that R from getting told. So there's a couple of ways you can try to outplay Silas, especially the cage is a huge one, especially if Silas lands those chains. You can try to use the cage to get separation and try to get off, because that Silas all-in is extremely dangerous. And even the Wukong, the all-in potential for Buffalo is very, very high, but St. Clair...
They all can dive.
Yeah, every one of them wants to dive. They want to get in there and get their hands dirty, but St. Clair, it looks like they might have the damage to kind of, if they can get that poke damage early in those fights, they can kind of maybe either slow the engage or cause it to not happen at all.
And then the scary thing, too, they all can dive without ultimates.
Yes.
This can be done, like, very, very quickly. We saw the Saints dive style last time, but that relied a lot more on, like, a Jarvan Cataclysm or like ultimate-based maneuvers, the Amumu, Curse of the Sad Mummy.
Yeah, we saw tons of all in the other game. Yeah, we saw like it was a Mumu, Jarvan, and a couple others. Yeah, we saw like 7 or 8 layers of CC from the one comp. And now say, good to see a little bit of variation, a little more damage, especially with the Kaisa. You're not really going to get a ton of CC. She has the all-in though, so she can get the dive, especially with the R. So be very, very interesting to see how we play off, and we are now just getting onto the Rift for Game 2. Once again, going to be Saints on the blue side, I believe is the same as last game. Buffalo going to take the red side again. I believe it was loser's choice, so not really anything surprising. Most teams would agree to take the red side, so nothing too shocking. And
no line of scrimmage here this time here for the Saints. We are on the move, maybe looking for something cheeky very, very early here. As of right now, SUNY Buffalo does not have any members nearby as of this moment. The closest thing is going to be the Tristana near that blue buff. Should have just spotted out now. The hook is going to land. This is going to be scary, but he actually does get forced to take the W level 1. So the initial pressure in lane is going to be a little bit rough there for Nene, but it does save his life.
Yeah, you get the Nautilus flash, but making Tristana start, and say Nautilus still going to be up for the Hex flash as well. So that's why you're willing to flash. At least try to get the kill, and like you said, make Tristana start W. And now it's going to be a lot harder for her to get that lane pressure, but the one thing I'd have to be aware of if you're St. Clair, there is a Hecarim. He actually looks like he's going to start topside as well, so the only thing I'd have to worry about is him trying to path early on in the game, trying to maybe find a quick gank, but really good start by the Saints here to get Tristana to start the wrong ability.
Absolutely. If all of a sudden they try to catch out the Nautilus again or something there, if they try to catch Rafa out, that could possibly work in their favor, but a couple things do have to line up in their favor in order for that to happen, as we are going to see Lonzo over on the blue side of things here for the Saints. So maybe if True Love does try to make something cheeky happen early against Rafa, Alonso could be nearby within that vicinity for maybe a counter gank attempt, which might be that little extra safety net that the Saints were looking for.
Yeah, and both junglers, honestly, not the same champ, but we have 2 like horseback riders, two beasts running around the jungle, so pretty similar timings on most of their farming as well in their camps. And yeah, we're gonna see Alonso going out the blue side. Hecarim is gonna start on that red side, top side. Gonna see a little back and forth, and if you're Ricky, you're just trying to get as much damage, get the Wukong to burn as much mana as you can, and then try to set up that all-in. And so far, pretty good back and forth. Rock Boom is going to be tagged up pretty decently. Rakan is going to be marked off there. Going to be down to half health. Tristana still level 1 there. See, top lane, just a little bit of back and forth still. And Prisoner, a little bit of zoning on Ricky there, trying to proxy the wave a little bit. Try to keep that farm down on Aatrox as much as possible, because Aatrox can get that CS. Oh, he is actually going to go for the level 2 dive, and just like we said, Wukong can, a lot of trading capability, but once again, Ricky is going to get a couple Q tags there, so good little trade.
Not the tankiest of individuals, though, there that Wukong for him, Prisoner, so if Ricky does find a good opportunity to land a couple of those Qs, that will absolutely hurt. Ooh. Speaking of Alonso making a trip down the bot lane, he is there to possibly maybe bait people out. A little bit of skirmish continues up in the top side of things as well, but looks like they're just going to go back, but we could have a jungler collision.
Yeah, it looks like Hecarim was pathing down toward the bot lane there. Alonso does already have both buffs. Chulove didn't quite get his blue buff yet. Going to try to all-in Alonso. Alonso going to get the quick little stun there, but just going to back off Hecarim, realizing maybe not the best idea. I don't really have Nautilus on vision right now, and he could come out of anywhere. So Silas going to take a little peek there, but Vigar just going to hang back. Going to get a little Q poke there. Going to avoid the chains. Actually, all-in is going to land. Silas, the decent little damage. Vigar is going to drop the cage there. Ricky in the top lane there, fighting off 2 members of Buffalo. He actually will escape with his life as well. So, or 2 members, 2 Wukongs. So
I was going to say, you got baited too. I did the exact same thing.
Immediately got me. Although, looks like Baby might get knocked up here. Is going to have to burn the flash to get away from Alonso. So, great little skirmish there. A couple summoners getting traded, but no kills ultimately coming from it.
Very, very close to just referring to little baby cutie as LBC, but we'll see. As we now have a possible opportunity to maybe pressure the Silas a little bit more. Alonso's still hovering around there, and Rafa doing his roaming thing as per usual as well. Just going to leave Rock Boom down in the bot lane. I mean, Tristana naturally just pushes waves over and over again. So while you might miss a couple of CS due to the tower, you get a lot of experience real quickly. And in theory, can jumpstart your economy.
Yeah, Rakan is going to play in that blue side try there. Is going to walk down now. Should be able to avoid the tower shot. Just trying to create some presence, kind of zone off Rockboom from getting those last hits there. And we are going to see, looks like maybe, I was going to say possibly a 3-man gang top, but Vigar is going to hit the recall mid. Sejuani, I think he went and stole some of the jungle camp from Hecarim as well. So going to go back to his side now, keep that farm up as well. Actually, Hecarim, let's say a lot of CS ahead so far, but Sejuani trying to get the catch up there now. Still a little bit of back and forth in the top lane. Both of these champs are pretty hard to kill early on. Aatrox land a nice little combo there. Riki gonna land everything. Gonna chunk down Wukong very, very low. Might be able to find the kill here. Wukong, I'm not sure even flashing out of here would do anything. He is gonna hit the flash, and he actually will escape, but gonna use flash and ignite, so Riki not having to burn his flash and getting both summoners from Wukong. Very, very nice for him next fight.
This could be trouble, however. Chulove up here in the top lane. Riki, I mean, we've seen him in this position before. We know he's going to try it. Can he get into a position to do the 1v2? Kind of stuck in a little crevice here. They're going to dive together. That's exactly how they need to do it. First blood goes over to Imprisoner.
Yeah, Riki tried to flash into the alcove there to get out of there, but just unfortunately wasn't able to either get the Q cooldown or just do it. Once I land 1 Q, I'm going to get 2v1 anyways, and I'm going to have no chance of getting back in this fight. And great job there by Chulove to know that, hey, Riki, he just got my top lane to burn both of his sums, and now just like that, both top laners, no summoner spells. Hecarim gonna help get that early kill. Wukong is gonna get the kill as well, so definitely I would say not super. I would say it is pretty ideal actually. You want Wukong to get ahead of Aatrox as quick as possible. Now Aatrox actually gonna walk to the mid lane and get some farm, knowing the top lane is gonna be shoved up anyway. So to be there, maybe trying to set up something with the Sylas, but Sylas playing pretty smart right now, just sitting back.
Yeah, absolutely. If some sort of dive happens, it's between two characters that are relatively squishy, so could probably turn that one around. But then also good on Imprisoner up there in the top lane for Buffalo to not just shove the wave mindlessly. As we now see another gank happening in the mid lane. Expo, good flash, gonna get out of there just barely. Yeah,
Rakan gonna hit the ignite, trying to hit the knock up there, was assuming the combo would land, but really good job there by, I would say, Zephrot to hit the flash. Just TP back to lane as well, so going to be a little bit of a walk back to lane there. Actually, not gonna take recall yet. First Cloud Dragon is now up for both teams, and immediately SUNY Buffalo going to send 3 there, and St. Clair maybe going to path in the backside of the pit, but they're going to have to get up there pretty quickly because there's 4 members of SUNY Buffalo on that dragon right now.
Yeah, and Ricky's already got his teleport down as well, and it would be up to Alonso in the bot lane there to try and make something happen, but I don't think they're actually going to contest it here. It's gone down half health pretty well. No contest the slightest. Should be able to pick this up in a moment's time. Definitely taking a little bit of time there for them to get that job done, but they are still going to be rewarded getting themselves some big experience and big gold.
Yeah, the dragons have a ton of health early game now, so especially if you don't have if everyone's not level 6 to try to burst the dragon, it's going to take a little bit. So St. Clair had some time to get there, but unfortunately not able to. And once again, Buffalo going to jump out and get the first dragon there. Nautilus Hook is going to come through for Rafa. Rakan going to go for the knockup, going to miss it as well. Alonso is here on the side lane. They try to push up. Nene is going to get tagged down. Going to have to flash out of there. Both members of the bot lane for Buffalo are low. Probably going to look for recall. Heal is going to go through there. So both teams now going to try to shove the bot wave in and maybe try to play up to either steal some jungle camps or create some presence elsewhere. But actually, Vigar is going to throw the cage down. Zephrot getting tagged up heavily, and Sylas almost finding the kill, but just not quite there.
This is going to get messy, though. 3-on-3 in the bot lane underneath the turret of Buffalo. This could be big here for Buffalo. They're going to try and get Alonso as well. Is going to go down. Rockboom forced to run. They went for the dive, but the jungler, Chulove, was right there for the counterattack.
Yeah, this Hecarim has done such a great job of either counter jungling or being there to set up on the second or third attempt for the gank. To so far, all over the map, showing topside, helping get the kill on Riki when it looked like he would have had the Wukong dead to rights, and now showing the presence bot lane, able to stop that dive as well. And SUNY Buffalo, once again, St. Clair was able to draw first blood like last game, but Buffalo just looking a little bit better in that early game so far.
Yeah, and I mean, the early game was kind of where they flourished in the first game as well. They did take themselves a small, like, 2k gold lead, maybe around the 10-minute mark at one point. But unfortunately for them, they weren't able to really hold on to it. The Saints were able to kind of climb their way back through the mid and then the late game. As we do see now, maybe a little sneaky gank here from Rafa. However, with it being so pushed up, it's a little bit awkward. Going to have to wait for an all-in of some sort.
Yeah, and all of Buffalo invading that topside jungle. Either to try to get a pick on Riki or go for the rift, but it looks like it might be a 4-man dive onto Riki. Hopefully the Sejuani can realize what's happening, because Riki might get caught out here.
Vision there.
Especially walking up. Yeah, he has no idea. Multiple members are waiting. Nautilus does walk up to the tower. Riki going to get knocked away from the tower. Great 4-man dive. Going to tank a few tower shots, and just like that, Buffalo. Perfect 4-for-1 dive onto Riki. They will find the kill, and now going to clear the pink ward out of try. Rafa, not really much he can do there. Just had to kind of sit back and watch it happen. Don't want to throw too many bodies there, and now they say they might turn on the Rift Herald, but maybe not quite yet, knowing Sejuani's waiting in the wings.
And it's going to be trouble again. And of course, the high mobility comp is really, really strong at this. True Love's going to get stunned, but it doesn't matter. The fear there on Expo is going to make things difficult. Big knock-up coming out here from Young. It's going to finish off Expo as well. Two fantastic ganks coming out here from SUNY Buffalo.
Yeah,
might not be done.
Ooh, Young hit the Flash Ignite. They get the knock-up, and now Rotham getting tagged up by the Triss. Once again, Rakan knock-up is going to be there. Rotham going to get pulled across. True Love might end up going down for a shovel. Rotham is going to escape with his life, but Silas will be there for the finish in Buffalo. Still all members alive. Alonso just trying to find one. Rafa getting knocked off screen by the Silas, and St. Clair just one by one getting picked apart this fight. Knockup's going to go through, and Alonso is going to fall to Tristana there. And Buffalo just flawless.
Yeah, that was 4 unanswered kills within the last 30 seconds to a minute or so here. Going over to the side of SUNY Buffalo. Just fantastic job in their own right. They're playing this dive or rush composition very, very well, and it really jump-started a lot of the right people too. Like, this is absolutely insane if you do end up looking at some of these statistics here for eliminations and such. That mid lane, if Little Baby Cutie had a hard time during the first game, it's revenge time on Felix this time by currently 3-0. And the fact that the Hecarim's been involved in 7 eliminations is going to be scary.
Yeah, and the Rakan as well. Both of those characters just there every single time the knockup is there, or if the Rakan doesn't hit the knockup, he's at least zoning off and making the, let's say, the Vigar, making him burn Flash, making him turn back into the enemies, and still able to get the CC off. At least the Saints, they are going to get a free Rift Herald for their trouble. Maybe they can try to make him play topside as well. Looks like Imprisoner is pretty far pushed up. Ricky is going to try to land a couple Qs there. Hit the W and walk away, though.
And everything.
Is actually going to flash as well, knowing Rafa was there. So actually a really good job to pre-flash that, especially if he had vision on Rafa there, knowing if that hook lands, probably lights out. So good job with the Saints to get first Rift Herald. But actually, Imprisoner going to stop the back of Rafa. Rafa backing on the enemy side try is going to get the Glacial Augment CC there, trying to knock him back. But Ricky should be there to assist him, going to hook away and luckily try to recall the safety there.
Yeah, a little bit of a greed back could have been deadly there for Rafa, but it's going to get away with the backup there from Ricky. But now that top tower could very well be in danger. It looks like Wuhan slowly but surely going to push it on forward. But what do we have coming up? So we do have Dragon happening within another 20 seconds or so. So I definitely expect to see SUNY Buffalo. They've been focusing that pretty hard. In fact, if we do take a look down at the mini-map, Young is already right there, ready for vision. And maybe even a little bit of a push towards that mid lane. Yeah,
and they've already got that ward on the St. Clair side of the Tri-Brush. Nene is going to get stunned, is going to get double knock-up, is going to try to jump to safety, but Kaisa is going to get the shutdown. A little bit of gold in her pocket and get that kill back now. So really good job for St. Clair. And if maybe they can try to path toward this bot side to start the Dragon fight, but not quite sure yet. Still, Buffalo with a lot of presence there. 3 men in the Tri-Bush. Rafa going to be all alone. Hopefully he realizes it. All 3 members trying to focus him, but going to ward off in that Tri, but very scary situation for Rafa.
Rafa feeling good there after that initial dodge, but we again have it. Rafa knew they were there, but he's going to dive on in. Rockboom was starting this fight at about half health, or we're just going to absolutely send Shelly into the abyss to try and maybe get a tower for this at this point, because this team fight just did not work unless Ricky and Expo can turn this.
And Expo got a huge, I think it was his R, going to land a fat combo. Lots of damage, is going to flash. Silas going to find the double kill. Expo, very low HP as well. Look at the Silas. Still very, very healthy. This will most likely end up being a Dragon for Buffalo.
Absolutely. Just unfortunately, I don't know if they just did not realize how many members on the side of SUNY Buffalo were there or what. Rafa moved on forward knowing there's probably 1 or 2 of them there. Did not expect 3 or more, and it's jumped on immediately. And, I mean, it just did not quite work out in the slightest.
Yeah, Rafa was just a little bit too far up there, especially, I don't know if they had full vision in the river there and in the bush, so just really, really risky play to walk out there, especially, when you don't know for sure how many enemies are there, just assume it's the entire team and just try to play it safe, because that's exactly pretty much how it was. Buffalo, Rafa, great little flash over the wall. Blast Cone is going to be stopped. Fantastic hook by Rafa to stop the Blast Cone into the pit. And now St. Clair, they might be able to go 50 this Dragon, but they are going to have to work around there. Sejuani, Smite is up, or Smite just on cooldown though, and actually Buffalo will get the Hex Tech Dragon, and they will have 2 Dragons to 0, just like last game.
Yeah, starting off the exact same way in that regard. Can the Saints maybe find themselves another elimination for their troubles? They are going to spot out Nene once again. Going to just jump themselves out of here. The ulti snipe attempt coming out there from Alonso. That was right on target. Forces the flash, but is going to allow for Nene to get away this time by. So They get the Dragon, no extra eliminations going over to the Saints. Best case scenario for SUNY Buffalo.
Yeah, now say top lane, pretty back and forth here. Both members just waiting for the waves to crash, and Ricky is going to take the Gromp here. Silas, Rakan is going to path topside once more, so Rakan just on the perma-roam job, and to say 1 kill, 10 assists, he's been involved in like 98% of the kills so far, so really good job. Everfrost is going to land, chains come through as well, tanking a lot of tower shots into stopwatch. Clutch, the stopwatch for Silas going to come through. Really good timing on the Vigar ability. Unable to find the kill though. Lands everything, and Silas just enough sustain to survive that fight. So a little back and forth with the stopwatches with Silas. Now going to be up to 6-0-2 with a 600 gold bounty on his head. And the Prisoner going to all-in Ricky under the tower. So that Wukong, no joke as well. And once again, a third member of the Saints going to get caught out. Rakan is going to be there, but Rafa has a teammate there to fall back in the mid lane. Has to try to get out of here though.
All these plays coming out here from SUNY Buffalo. Apparently has me doing my Owen Wilson impressions here with all these wows.
Yeah.
But my goodness, just we're seeing these solo efforts going well from them. Some solid team play as well, and they've been able to capitalize. The Saints are probably going to have to attempt to kind of recuperate by taking it to the long game. It's just a matter of how much damage can they avoid.
Yeah, and are you able to get to the long game without it getting too out of hand by the 20-minute mark? Because they're down almost 6k gold right now, just about 6k gold. Down 2 dragons, and say Cloud and Hextech, two very strong dragons as well. And so far, they have the Rift Herald. They used it on the bot lane because they kind of panic used it because they realized we were losing the team fight. We're trying to create some sort of distraction to maybe play for the dragon, but didn't really get a whole lot of value out of it. Bot tower has fallen. Now the top tower has fallen as well. Still fighting over that mid lane, but SUNY Buffalo, all 3 towers up. Dragon advantage, pretty big gold advantage, and say having the Silas ahead and the Hecarim too, because Hecarim, if he gets behind, can you wouldn't struggle to find value entirely, but when he's not a huge damage dealer, it definitely hurts you. And having somebody like Silas with full Dark Seal stacks this early in the game is very threatening for the Saints.
Absolutely. If they can keep this up, of course, still very early in this game, it could still absolutely change. I mean, we saw how game 1 went, but if SUNY Buffalo were even already to get this to a 1-1 series, and even if the Saints were to take it 2-1 or on the reverse, if it comes down to a tiebreaker versus GVU, it could be problems. We're going to take on side. We got a team fight.
Everfrost is going to come through, and the chain's going to land. So basically, Alonso not allowed to play the game for 4 or 5 seconds there, and just a free kill pretty much for Buffalo. And they should be able to shove this mid tower potentially. Not a huge wave behind them, but a lot of pressure in front of the Saints. Everfrost is going to land. Chains come through. Vigar trying to find some damage. Zephyrod just trying to run with his life to Silas. Double buffed up, full HP. Does not care about the tower. Going to tank a couple shots, but Kaisa is going to be there for some damage. Now the Ignite is going to come through. Rafa, the Wukong knockup is going to come through.
Baited.
Great knockup on Rock Boom is going to fall, and SUNY Buffalo once again just finding yet another solo pick, and now 16 kills to 4, and they are completely running this game.
They know Rock Boom loves to kind of play assassin style here with that within that 80 carry role, and unfortunately there for Rock Boom, as soon as he fired himself all the way over into enemy lines, they had CC waiting for him, and they just blew him up pretty well instantaneously. Fantastic defense there from SUNY Buffalo.
Yeah, and this is the one thing they definitely have more than last game. They have the ability to either create engagements from farther away with the CC and the mobility, or they can kind of get out of dodge in some of those instances, and so far, they're taking full advantage. The Rakan, say, 14, he's got almost 100% kill percentage, or kill pressure there. Hecarim, say, 3 kills, 9 assists, now going to go for topside again. Try to land the Q on Ricky. Silas is here to help, though. Ricky is going to end up falling, and Silas going to go legendary and find the kill. Now up to 8-0-3 at 17 minutes.
Yeah, just with the way that the Saints are playing right now, they're just stuck without vision, and even just trying to farm minions seems to be deadly at this point here. Because if I was in Ricky's shoes there, I feel like I'm okay. I'm not pushed that far up. If anything, I'm closer to my turret than theirs. What could possibly happen? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
They could come in pretty quickly. And that was a fantastic one once again. Just going to continue to push SUNY Buffalo ahead. 8 eliminations now on to that Silas there for LBC, and just crush them.
Yeah, insane. Just the Wukong, everyone, just a very clean game from Buffalo. They're getting these one-off picks, and they're not really overly committing to fights. They're not risking trading one-for-ones. They're getting those picks, and they're kind of backing off and saying, okay, free kill, free 2 kills. Let's use that, play off the objective. They do have the second Rift Herald. Looks like it'll be Chu Love with the charge. They're going to try to find some way to use it. Maybe possibly bot or mid. Looks like they're maybe grouping up toward the pit. So Dragon actually is going to be up it's going to be up momentarily, and there's a lot of the Saints topside. So this might be a third free Dragon. It'll be another Cloud Dragon for SUNY Buffalo. It looks like it will be.
And then this could be deadly here for Felix up in the top lane as well. Just some good dancing shoes. Alonso is going to be forced to come on up here to try and defend his mid laner. You got Rafa here as well. But if I'm SUNY Buffalo, even if Prisoner does go down. I'm just taking Dragon at this point. Might actually get ourselves another one. Ricky trying to win this 1v1, but little baby cutie is just too fed and too fancy, dodging some of those cooldowns and just crushing it. Saints are going to get a little turret here up on the top lane for their troubles. Maybe even push for some damage on this one. But with this Dragon going over to the side of SUNY Buffalo, that's going to threaten the Dragon Soul point for the next time by and really force hands here for Saints in the next coming minutes.
Yeah, listen, Aatrox might feel like he's never going to die. A fed Sylas, even more so. You saw that back and forth. Both health bars filling. Ricky looked like he was winning the fight almost pretty convincingly, and then immediately Sylas just gets like a 25-30% HP buff, and obviously being as fed as he is, full Everfrost, Zonias, and he has full Merc Treads already. Say, and the full Darksteel stacks, nobody can kill him and take those stacks off, so just being fully stacked up for this long, Ricky gonna go for the all-in again. Chains are gonna land, steal the Vigar are. He's going to get stunned on the cage. They have to try to make a play here. They have him stunned. They have to get this shut down. And Ricky's going to get a fat load of gold in his pocket. That is exactly what St. Clair needed to at least try to make some mark on this game right now.
I was going to say, with little baby cutie matching the Saints in turret eliminations there by getting the inner bot side, but left himself wide open. And honestly, that bounty that he had on his head was probably way more valuable than the turret. So all of that going over to the Saints, all of that going onto Ricky, who absolutely needed it, is going to be huge. Are we going for Baron?
HUE Love trying to at least solo Baron for the time being, but teammates are going to be there to group. But honestly, how far back St. Clair is, I'm not actually sure if they'll get up to contest this in time. They can't exactly burst it like super quickly, but if the Saints are a little bit slow, backside TP is going to come in to distract as well, but Saints actually should be able to come in and 50 this maybe with
Alonso's
the smite challenge. Alonso, great job on the knockback there. He's going to charge back in though. They're going to force him off the Baron. Joe Biden is going to go down. Ricky trying to land some Qs. Still alive, though. He actually will fall to Tristana. Still going to teamfight Rafa. Looks like he's going to fall as well. Sylas is going to find yet another kill, his 10th of the game. Nene going to get the jump in, trying to kill Alonso and Expo. Going to find a lot of damage onto Expo. Sylas is going to give chase, still full HP, and Expo is going to flash, but questionable flash. Actually did get the kill on Tristana, but once again, going to get the trade there. And Baron looks like it might go to SUNY Buffalo. They should have the HP to tank this, I think.
Unless,
yeah, Sylas there, they can, yeah.
Unless Alonso wants to challenge, they do realize he's still within the vicinity, and they have to keep an eye on their positioning around this Baron pit as well. There is a couple low health bars here. If somehow HUE Love goes down, in fact, sure enough, there it is, Alonso can very well go for this Baron steal. Little baby cutie is not going to let this go. He actually eats the ultimate, going to force the one-on-one. It's either the one-on-one or the Baron at this point. Alonso's forced to run.
That was such a good play by LBC on that Sylas. Now he's going to find the kill as well. Steals the R, freezes Alonso in place, hooks on him with the chains, able to keep him CC'd and force him off the back of the pit. And look at those health bars to SUNY. I think Sylas, he realized that, hey, if Sejuani can get into this pit, she might end up finding 2 kills and possibly the Baron if she's got her smite up. So just a honestly superb, that was a perfect job. Just combo, Everfrost, everything in the kit used there to perfection. And SUNY Buffalo, once again, just starting to run away with the game.
Yeah, Sejuani doesn't do a ton of damage, but has enough that could have made that happen with some Baron debuffs and some Baron damage on top of it. So that was just, like you said, absolutely calculated and played to perfection there from SUNY Buffalo, and especially there for little baby cutie as well, who after having let's be honest, an awful game number 1, has come back into this second game absolutely guns blazing or chains blazing, whatever you want to say here. May not have weapons in that regard, but we could very well see the side of SUNY Buffalo start pushing in for some inhibitors.
Yeah, and I think it's honestly, not that he's played outstanding, but I think it comes down. I think Sylas is just such a better champ right now than Swain. Sylas is just, there's not really a spot where he's bad. He has a little bit of range, he's got knock up, he has CC, he's got tons of damage, he has sustain. He's kind of like a great all-around pick right now, and they blinded him as well. Now, Wukong going to go for the knock up. Alonso isn't going to end up balling here, so, and Prisoner going to find the kill there. The Wukong, once again, popping off. Already has Divine and Black Cleaver, so just tons of damage coming through. Everfrost is going to come through. Cutie trying to land the chains. Is going to be a dive under tower, and it looks like SUNY Buffalo trying to end the game here.
Absolutely huge play again there from little baby cutie, stealing the Nautilus ultimate to knock everybody up. It's going to send the Saints scattering, but there is just so many bodies here from SUNY Buffalo. There's nowhere to go, and the Saints have been aced. The mid turret is open. You have Baroned up minions. This is probably game.
Yeah, this is going to be ace straight to the base. Looks like the Saints are going to end up falling in this one. SUNY Buffalo, say not quite over yet, but they have the Baron wave. They have enough members up, and St. Clair, those respawn timers far too long in Sejuani. You're going to get some CC, but you're not going to get the damage you need to stave off this push. Although, maybe SUNY Buffalo playing a little bit safer. I don't, actually the shutdown did go through on Silas, so they are going to take a second inhibitor, but the game is not going to be over just quite yet. St. Clair, though, they're running out of chances here, especially when this soul point comes up. If SUNY Buffalo is able to grab it, they're going to be in trouble, but Ricky is going to find a kill onto Rakan, so maybe a little bit of a turn here for the Saints, but looks like the blast gun will be used in HUE Love. You're not going to catch a Hecker more than likely.
No.
He's going to ghost out of there. He's not even going to take the chance.
By the time you even get close, he's going to have his ultimate up again
Yeah.
anyway, so going to have to just take the one elimination and just have kind of solace with that. We're going to be forced to play catch-up experience for a little while here, but with that is going to be this Dragon Soul being given away uncontested. Never mind Hexagon, that's Saint on it rather. They're going to get this real quick unless HUE Love realizes and makes a dive for it. They're actually just going to dive on top of it. Again, the ultimate from the Sejuani from Alonso is unfortunately going to go wide, and that was the trigger that started the last fight. Let's see if it happens again.
Yeah, great job by the Saints. They do get the bounty. They do get the objective bounty. They do save Soul Point. Now, the Prisoner is going to walk back. They do still have the Baron buff up for maybe another... Yeah, say it's gone right now. Say maybe a few more seconds, but not going to be any more weight pressure. And Prisoner is going to go
What
for
a
the
flank.
all-in. Great job by the Silas to double knock with the chains. Huge damage from the Tristana on the backline, and the Saints look like they're getting absolutely rolled out of here. Expo's going to fall. Ricky's going to fall. Alonso will be the next one to fall. Hecarim giving chase here. Once he gets this knock up, Tristana will be there for the W in the jump. And he will end up falling. Chu is going to get tanked by the tower, so Alonso safe for the time being, but SUNY Buffalo, they've got enough here, they can end the game.
Yeah, with this turret at half, they were able to find one more good opportunity to strike, and SUNY Buffalo are not going to fall 2-0 to the Saints twice. They are going to learn from their mistakes, learn from Game 1, and frankly, crush the Saints in Game 2.
Yeah, we just saw an absolutely superb job of Buffalo just taking full map control. They went full roam. We saw the Rakan and the Hecarim. I think they were near 20-plus assists. We saw so much kill pressure, and then Silas obviously doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the mid lane there. Just such a hard champ to come back from and say, stealing the Vigar R, stealing a ton of, really like greatly timed stealing the R, especially stealing the Sejuani R in the backside of the Baron pit. He pretty much single-handedly created the Baron play for SUNY Buffalo, and that just, they were already snowballing, but that was almost a dagger, and then the Saints just didn't have enough.
And then I think even compared to the Nautilus, Nyang there on the Rakan was all over the place.
Yeah.
You could not see a fight without him really getting involved for the most part. 22 assists, the highest in the game by an absolute long shot. All over the place, just setting everybody up. Only the one elimination credited to them.
Yeah.
However, by setting everybody up the way that they did, just touching things up brutally, because that just allowed for like little baby cutie to go nuts. And Yene there on the Tristana had a couple opportunities as well, 9 eliminations for them, and just a much bigger standout performance from both HUE Love and Prisoner. And Prisoner even doing some one-on-one stuff there up against Ricky. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, we don't see Ricky get 1v1 very often like that.
No, yeah. Aatrox is a hard enough champ to 1v1 as it is, but say the Wukong right now is just such a strong pick. And honestly, this was a much better all-around draft from the side of Buffalo. They were able to cover all their bases. They found the heavy damage. They had the sustain. They had a little bit, the Wukong W. They had a little bit of distraction. They had kind of everything to fit around those team fights. And say they just took full map pressure from the Saints early on. They got deep vision, and the Saints were, how many 4-to-1 dives did we see? 3 or 4 times. They were just fully calculated. We're going to dive Ricky, make sure he doesn't even have a chance to get out of his lane in the game here, and then they were able to snowball.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if the Saints have to maybe make an adjustment from comfort picks or comfort picks that make sense in a team composition. I shouldn't say just comfort picks. That makes it sound like they're just playing for solo queue. No, these are like comfort picks for competitive situations like this.
Yeah.
Or if they have to strictly try and make a theme or something happen. We kind of saw this versus GVU. When their backs were up against the wall in the second series, they went dive. Yeah. Do they have a plan like that in mind for game number 3? We'll have to find out. Yeah, so I wonder if, maybe we'll see Ricky on the Jarvan, or we'll see, more of engaged style comp. But, I'd be curious to see if they go more of, more thematic team style. Because this one, there wasn't really one set thing you could see they wanted to do. They had a little bit of engage, they had some poke, but there wasn't really any clear okay, this is the thought process they're going in with, this is what they want to do. It was just kind of play it by ear, and SUNY Buffalo took full advantage. And I'm going to say this right now, I think Hecarim's getting banned instead of Olaf. That's tough. The Olaf is still that's tough. You play solo on Hecarim, but the Olaf is just such a strong pick. That's got some tough decisions to make in the draft. I mean, you just counter Olaf with damage, though. Yeah. You can't really stop that. Yeah, he pops the ultimate, you get feared, you're still locked down. Yeah. And so I'm going to be very curious to see nonetheless here how the Saints opt to go for game number 3.
Yeah.
But with that, we are going to take ourselves a very, very quick break here to set up the lobby for game number 3. We have ourselves a series.
Yes.
This is getting exciting. I definitely was not expecting SUNY Buffalo to fight as hard as they are, but we are going to be in for a treat. Be sure to stick around so you don't miss it.
And welcome back from that quick little intermission between Game 1 and Game 2 and Game 3 here. SUNY Buffalo has evened up the series at 1-1 in this HUE 22 best-of-3 against St. Clair. And now, going into Game 3, SUNY Buffalo, honestly, totally dominated Game 2 from start to finish. Just objective fighting. I think they drafted a little bit better as well, but here we are, once again, in Pro Draft, in the pick and ban phase, and we are going to see the exact same 5 bans we started with before. Shaco, Darius for the red side, and blue side going to go Jack, Sivir, and Trundle, so no surprise, going to see the Poppy ban coming through for St. Clair as well, so Poppy definitely has seen a huge rise in popularity the last few patches, so not the most shocking ban, but we hadn't seen Buffalo pull it out yet, so.
No, which makes me think that they have something specific in mind here in regards to maybe what kind of top laner the Saints are going for. The first pick there for Buffalo does not have me convinced. Kalista is going to be making an appearance once again here. It just must be a comfort pick. And yeah, Saints, I'm just going to take that for free considering the night and day difference from what we saw. Because again, the bot lane for Buffalo got ahead early once again in that last game. And they were snowballed that to like no prevail.
Yeah.
Granted, everybody did on Buffalo, so it was kind of hard to tell. But we'll have to see. It's looking like Game 1 all over again at this rate.
Yeah, and I think this pick is mostly so Tristana, because we saw last time, she got ahead, I think it was 55 or 60 CS, so you just have way better wave clear, so even if Kalista's getting a little bit of pressure with the kills, Tristana can just always keep up on the CS end of things, and we are going to see, it'll be Alonso on the Lee Sin. I think he's played a pretty good amount of Lee Sin. I think he's played it in HUE 22 a couple of times, so definitely a solid pick overall. Lee Sin, he's got a pretty decent pick rate as well, so solid pick. And actually going to see the Graves come through for Buffalo. Graves, always a danger in the jungle, so that's a character that can hit very, very hard and could also build tank as well if he wants.
I was going to say, I am never going to call Graves squishy ever again after what we saw what happened during the GBU match. And it's interesting seeing the Lee Sin come out here for St. Clair. I guess Alonso is absolutely tired of playing the control tank, which has me thinking that top lane for Ricky is going to be something a little bit more beefier, with a little bit less one-on-one outplay potential, and a little bit more team focused.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be maybe Ricky will go Jarvan top again. Renata going to be picked through for Buffalo on the support, and honestly, Renata works well with a majority of ADC champs in the game. Just her kit overall is so strong for team fighting, for laning, for everything. So Renata definitely she's been banned in a lot of matches, so definitely a very, very strong support pick coming through from Buffalo. So now we are going to finally see the Enchanter meta make an appearance, I think, and Lulu Tristana is going to be the bot lane, so a little dual Yordle for the Saints here.
Absolutely. Of course, the Enchanter playstyle, similar to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, it may not necessarily be the most fun playstyle, but it's what's really powerful right now. So do you go to the dark side? I guess so. We have pixie dust and butterflies, and we'll have to see what happens here for the Saints. But I do also want to touch on what you said earlier. You mentioned the Jarvan 4. This makes makes perfect sense, rather, if that's why they banned Poppy. Because you cannot flag and drag a Poppy, at all.
And we're going to see the Sylas ban coming through for the Saints on the red side, so not surprising at all. And we're going to immediately see the Victor ban. Not even 2 seconds wasted. St. Clair still needing the mid laner. Sylas and Victor going to be out of here. Basically the 2 carries of the last 2 games, although SUNY had a much better team effort last game, but we saw Sylas was the one, he was doing most of the heavy lifting, and he's the one that snowballed that mid lane into crazy team fights and just made those individual plays to set SUNY Buffalo apart. So now St. Clair, curious to see what they decide to ban away here. They're going to have their last ban. They are going to ban the Ahri, so I'd be curious to see what they want to run with in the mid lane here, but going to see a slew of mid laners here banned in the back half.
Yeah, one more ban on the table here. Do we see the Cassiopeia just get taken off the table once again here? Not going to allow Felix to pick that one up. Haven't seen it really at all so far during Q-Fest, but must be a ranked favorite of his or something, because it's been pretty much on the table every single time. If anything, they are going towards the Swain right now, which is definitely interesting. Did they forget that they were banning and they were going to pick it again, or what
I'm not sure.
What happened this time by? I'm going to take a peek at the lobby chat in a few moments here just to make sure, because it would be funny if they made the same mistake twice, because then it would be Game 1 deja vu all over again.
Yeah, Swain is definitely still a pretty solid pick. Playing into a Victor with any mid laner is honestly pretty tough, because he can just kind of do everything and he hits very hard from far away. We are going to see actually the LeBlanc come through in the mid lane for the side of the Saints, so going to mix things up a little bit. LeBlanc, definitely, she's always been pretty good, but she's seen a pretty decent rise in popularity recently. I've seen a lot of pro play with her, so the Saints, going to go for a more standard meta comp, so to speak. Going to go with Lulu and LeBlanc. We've seen a lot more matches, but Renata and Kalista in the bot lane now. Blue side still have I would say a really Graves jungle. I would assume could be Graves top, but that hasn't really been as prevalent recently. So actually, yep, they're going to pick the Aatrox top, and we know in Prisoner, very, very adept on the Aatrox there, so that's definitely going to be a comfort pick. And we are going to see Lissandra playing in the mid lane, so I like the draft out of Buffalo a pretty solid amount. The Kalista's maybe the only question mark, but the other 4 picks I think are super, super solid.
So this is either going to be going down the Jarvan 4 path, I feel like you were talking about before, or something just extremely stupid beefy like an Ornn. Like,
yeah, and Ornn is honestly always solid in this meta. Like, he's good at everything.
You really cannot go wrong. We'll have to see, though. Maybe they pull something different.
Mordekaiser.
How did I not think of the Mordekaiser as well, though? Of course, we saw in the match history last time these teams both played. I think this exact matchup happened. It was Mordekaiser versus Aatrox, I do believe. And Ricky was able to win that matchup overall there.
Yeah.
Was a big part of the Saints 2-0. So, going to be interesting. We've got a lot of cool picks coming out this game.
Yeah, honestly, this is going to be a lot more fun of a game, I think, even though it's like more like quote-unquote meta picks. So say we see a lot of Lissandra, we see a lot of Renata Glass, a stupid amount of Kalista, we see a lot of Lulu as well. So both teams going to go maybe, I would say, back to the basics. So we're going to see a little more of a meta Golem comp. Definitely a different playstyle, because if you look at the side of the Saints right now, the only real engage is Lee Sin. Everybody else has to kind of either get CC from a distance, or they kind of want to just poke away and, wait for that team fight to come to them and play around that Mordekaiser or trying to get someone out of the fight. So definitely going to be a way different game as far as how it's going to play out, as far as team fighting and just individual laning.
Yeah, without question, because now, like, both of these teams relied a ton on roaming supports, especially early. It felt like at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I know Rafa loved to do that. How do you do that with the Lulu?
Yeah, you're playing
You
for lane
shouldn't,
phase, yeah.
right? In theory, you essentially babysit your AD carry
Yeah,
until,
it's
they're,
exactly
until they're ready to flourish, or until team fight time. And then with a Renata, I mean, I guess you can pull that off a little bit. You do have some tools, but it's still like no tank heavy engage supports. Yeah. So in theory, that bot side, while it's still going to have heavy importance here in this matchup, could be a little bit quieter without jungler interference.
Yeah, and that's to say, Renata has a little bit of CC, but not nearly the amounts of like an Amumu or a Nautilus or someone like a Blitzcrank, depending if they're picked. So a little bit of roaming capability, but we're going to see, I think, a lot more people staying in their lanes, at least for the first half of this game. I think Mordekaiser, you're not really going to roam from the top too often. The mobility is not going to be there, at least for the first few levels, so you get those T2 boots upgraded, and especially in Prisoner, we know, very, very strong on the Aatrox. I think it's one of his better picks, so Ricky going to have his hands full, try to take him out. I'd be curious to see who Ricky wants to take out of the team fight. Does he try to R the Aatrox and force the 1v1 and get the stat buff, or does he want to try to take away maybe the ADC or the mid laner in these team fights? I want to see who they try to isolate with that R and who they think they really need to take out of so they can turn fights in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm always going to have my on Felix or Expo in this situation, especially we've seen, even when LeBlanc was being looked at as garbage, we would still see Felix pick up LeBlanc and just blow people up.
That's the thing. Even when she seems terrible, people still find use somehow with her. Even when she's like objectively really bad, there's still ways to use her somehow.
Absolutely. Like, not quite to the one trick level of something like a Shaco or something like that, but you still find ways to use the LeBlanc, and Felix was absolutely fantastic at doing that. So I'm expecting big things this game. Of course, no pressure in the slightest, I swear. But as we go on through position-wise, there was pretty much nothing that could have flexed, really.
The only possible question was Graves top, and Graves top hasn't really been as prevalent for at least the last, especially since the durability update. He just can't, early level, you just can't chunk through the top laners nowadays. So Graves going to be in that jungle. Graves jungle, though, has been, it's that Strong's feels like forever. You can just great clear on the camps. You can get in team fight. You hit the near site. You can kind of, get in there, drop the smoke a little bit. So very, very solid draft from both teams, but I would maybe slightly favor Buffalo's draft. I just think Lissandra's a little bit better in the mid lane, and I think I like Graves a little more in the jungle, though. If Alonso's able to, wield this Lee Sin with some force, it could be back and forth, but I think I like Buffalo's draft just a touch better at the first look.
In terms of, like, certainties, I completely agree, because, other than the Kalista, but even then you do manage to get an engage
value,
or some sort of value there, even if it's not necessarily the damage itself. But in theory, if the side of SUNY Buffalo wanted to pick somebody out of the Saints and take them down, you have Lissandra, that point click stun boom.
Yep.
And you have the rest of the team to follow up there. For the Saints to do the same thing, you are relying on a less calculated, a less certain ability to kind of lock it down, or a bunch of things have to go right. Like, I'm sure Alonso is fantastic on Lee Sin, but you're not going to expect him to insect somebody every single time. That probability is pretty low. Like, even if you're really good at it and you can do it 70% of the times, Lissandra 100% are click.
Yeah, that's why I think this game the Saints are going to have to either play to try to get the top lane carry or definitely play for that bot lane. Lulu, just one of the stronger enchanter supports in the game period, especially in this new meta. She arguably is the best enchanter support. And once again, going to see the Tristana into Kalista matchup. Started off slow for Rockboom. Kalista not necessarily way better in laning phase, but once Tristana gets a couple items, to say the mobility is the biggest thing, just getting in and out of fights. And maybe that's the one thing. They have a little bit of mobility. LeBlanc can, make
Which is true.
Yeah, LeBlanc can cause some distraction, kind of get out of there. Lee Sin can kind of get his way out of dodge. Tristana, of course, we know can get out of there. That's why I think they're going to try to play for the top side Mordekaiser to get Mordekaiser fed, because in this patch, when Mordekaiser gets fed, even though he's a pretty simple champion and the R has a lot of like counterplay, if you get like a Quicksilver Sash or a couple other characters can cancel the R, but if he gets fed and he gets going, Mordekaiser is one of those champs where you're just like, this guy won't die.
And at least with Rafa being on the Lulu, that does give somebody on the Saints one emergency get out of jail card for the most part. I mean, you could still very well burst through it, but it does give you a little bit of extra time. So if they jump on the Tristana, Lulu pops the ult onto Rockboom, that could be enough time to jetpack out of there.
Yeah.
And he could very well save the fight in that regard, but we'll have to see what kind of setup the Saints end up pulling through here, because they've kind of run out of options now.
Yeah.
I was going to bring it up a little bit during the last match, but with the way, of course, HUE Fest that ends up running, the tiebreaker scenarios, if two teams have the same record, it does go down to how many maps have you won versus lost.
Yeah.
So Saints, in order to have beaten GVU, which we know is a fantastic squad from the time we played them earlier this week, I feel like they needed this to be a 2-0.
Yeah.
And the fact that Buffalo has already scored the one map hurts. Saints need this right here, right now, or without question, their HUE Fest run is done. But either way, it's still been a fantastic run, but they don't want them to stop here.
Yeah, and today has been no cakewalk. Even in the win, say the Saints had a decent early game, but they kind of lost the entire mid game from like 8 minutes to like 25. They were just kind of down, falling behind on objectives, just not really coordinating properly or on time. And then game 2, we saw Buffalo just completely take over. Like, it wasn't even, honestly, from the jump. The Saints maybe got first blood. They got a couple summoner spells early on, but they what's the name of the school again? I already forgot. SUNY Buffalo. Jesus, blanked there. Yeah, Buffalo. Immediately forgot it. Yeah, Buffalo just did such a good job of fighting back, able to pretty much sweep every single objective in the game and roll St. Clair off. So St. Clair, they have to find some way to play around those objectives. That's been their biggest struggle the last few series. Like, the games they lose, they pretty much have no presence around the objectives, or they send one or two there to try to flip it. It ends up not working.
And when we did do our interview with Rockboom and Ricky after the GVU game as well, they did bring that up as a point of weakness for their squad overall, that they would have team compositions that are meant to challenge objectives, but one thing would lead to another, and they could never challenge these objectives, force themselves to fall behind pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And as of right now, it seems like those old demons are still kind of hanging around here for this new squad, of course. That being said, still very, very new, but if they want any sort of impacts here in HUE22, they need to get that fixed up as quick as possible.
Unfortunately, before, like, you could maybe get away with sacking a couple of dragons, and the Rift Heralds really didn't mean, like, obviously they're nice to have, but the Rift Heralds really didn't mean that much in terms of gold and getting those items faster and getting online faster. So before the objectives, you could kind of afford to give a dragon, even sometimes 2 or 3, depending on if you have a scaling team comp. You're like, okay, these dragon buffs aren't really enough to warrant, like, to cover what we're doing, so we're going to kind of let it go to the wayside. And then just now, with them being worth so much gold and so much, like, the buffs being so strong, you have no choice but to start playing around these. So it's something they definitely have to try to work on and fix, because this is a fatal flaw for some teams in this meta right now.
Absolutely. Like you're saying, like, you used to be able to just give things up, but I like the way that Riot is pushing this. They're trying to make this a more, like, team fight heavy game. No more of this 30 minutes we're cheering over ward kills kind of things. More so like actual impactful fights, even if it does mean that the games go by a little bit quicker. Definitely like the way that they're taking this as of this moment. But without further ado, you see me moving around, you know what that means. It is time for game number 3, the decider between SUNY Buffalo and St. Clair Saints. Saints need this to get themselves into or have any chance rather to get into the LAN. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Yeah, must win for the Saints now. You lost game 2 in pretty bad fashion, so you have to come back. Definitely a mix-up in the draft. Very far contrast what we saw the last 2 series on stream from GVU and now to SUNY Buffalo. Even the first is against SUNY Buffalo. I think we saw like a Draven as the ADC. We did see the Mordekaiser, definitely played well in it as well, but we saw a lot of variation. So far the Saints, a lot of different ideas with the draft, and this time, once again, I don't know if they necessarily have an identity, but they're playing, I think, a little bit better champs this time, and at least in some aspects, they might have an easier time, like, surviving some of these fights a little longer.
Yeah, but then you might be able to survive a little bit longer, but if you're locked down completely, which is what I'm worried about from this SUNY Buffalo squad, it might not matter if you last like another second longer, you're still going to get bursted, and very, very scary there for Expo for a moment there. Going out into the bush, and oh wait, there's 3 of them.
Yeah, immediately going to sweep that ward out of the bush. Going to pop the blue trinket there into Pixel now. Waves are going to start to push. We're going to see Expo and Cutie once again. Lissandra versus LeBlanc in the mid lane. And this will be a very interesting matchup. Lissandra definitely can, if she gets online and she can do a lot of damage, has that little blink she can hit, can get around team fights. Ricky actually going to get a really good, great early trade with the Mordekaiser. Actually, I was going to say good. This is better than good so far. Going to get Aatrox down to half HP. The Conqueror stacks on Mordekaiser, you land those 3 attacks, you get that Resolve Circle or the Conqueror Circle, you get so much tick damage on top of landing that Q, and once he gets that E at level 2, a lot of early pressure, so Ricky definitely going to look to try to snowball this lane early on.
Absolutely. What a way to start off that lane. Just stop any sort of aggression early and just start popping potions. We do see the Aatrox up in the top lane now. Nothing left in the tank. So anything that happens here on out, you'd have to go back to the base for. You see Rafa poking away there with the Lulu, but level 2 does go over to SUNY Buffalo, and you see Saints immediately on the retreat.
Yeah, and Alonso actually going to walk into Graves' jungle topside there, maybe either looking for trying to steal the buff or just check the camps quickly. Now LeBlanc is going to roam, maybe a little bit of a level 2 skirmish in the mid lane. Lissandra going to come show, make sure Lee Sin's not worrying about, actually blue buff was still up, so yeah, Lee Sin coming to try to show in the blue, but a little bit of presence. Graves going to take the Gromp there. Ricky still trading out with Aatrox here, just keeping him under the tower for the time being, but you will have to be careful. You do not want to get caught up by Graves too early in the game and throw that lane, but bot lane, a little bit of back and forth poke, nothing out of the ordinary for this. That's what we expected to see. So far, a little bit of cryo for the Buffalo side, but so far both teams. Actually, Graves is going to come for the early gank. Aatrox going to get the suck on a Mordekaiser. Ignite's going to come through Graves, going to miss the near sight. They might be able to find the kill on Ricky here. He already did flash as well. The W is going to come through though, so he will be able to survive. So early gank attempt, flash will get burned, but no result from it.
As soon as Lissandra there, little baby Cutie, just immediately diving right onto Expo, just blowing your full combo, and then just get out of dodge once again. Just wisely done, forcing that clone to come out there from Expo for just a moment's time. And now, just we'll have to see if little baby Cutie can have a repeat performance from that game number 2.
Yeah.
Because that was also a very, very big game changer, because LBC basically had no impact in game 1, but it was all LBC in game 2.
Yeah, he had all the impact. Expo with the early flash to avoid the Lissandra ability, so gonna have to get out of the mid lane. Graves, once again, that mobility, just trying to, even just to show the mid lane for a few seconds there. Alonso is gonna be here, gonna try to find the kick, just gonna miss. That would have been the end for little baby Cutie, but now Expo is gonna walk up. Young Renata waiting in that middle bush, trying to find possibly some gank chance or trying to find some roam opportunity. Graves is going to be in the bot side river there. They are going to be sweeping it out. Is going to try to get that bot side scuttle, so it might be a little fight in the bot lane here if St. Clair pushes too far up, but they're going to play a little bit farther back here just to stay safe.
Yeah, both junglers still on the bot side. If all of a sudden something goes down here between this bot lane, either of them can come on through. In fact, we are going to see Alonso looking to make his way up there. Little baby Cutie actually extremely low. A little bit of burst damage coming out here from Expo to force LBC back to base. And there is no wards there. Alonso could get away with this.
Yeah, and Ricky once again still on the, I think the positive end of the trades there in the top lane. Going to be a back now. 3 members bot lane for St. Clair just to keep that wave shoved in. Graves is going to wrap around. Renata is going to hit the flash. Going to try to get the stun as well. She will end up falling for her trouble. I think Tristana might walk away with the kill. W is going to come through. Will she be able to get the res? No, she will not. Tristana going to jump away. Rafa going to have to flash away from the Graves, but I don't think he'll be able to escape with his life. Alonso kind of just watching hopelessly from the river there. Not really anything he could come do, and Graves is going to find that early kill in the bot lane. So going 1 for 1 at the end of it.
Okay, so good thing the elimination went down there. Rockboom was able to get that reset and just rocket jump out, because Rockboom took a ton of damage in that initial engage. Unfortunately, it is going to mean the doom here for Rafa, but stalled out his as long as possible, and blew an additional summer spell there as Chulov wanted to make sure that that elimination was secured.
Yeah. And we see Ricky once again still doing a great job of just kind of zoning off the Aatrox, trying to get that CS up. Great job using the W to just, you know, refill those stacks, get that HP, and Ricky has Ignite. He might be able to make some kind of play on the Aatrox if he has his E on cooldown. Aatrox going to go for the stun. E isn't going to land, though, and actually Ricky going to be tagged down a lot. Renata's going to be here. Lulu here as well. Both supports. Roaming in the top lane. Ricky going to hit the W, try to get that health advantage. Lulu going to be there to try to support Renata, actually very low on HP. Ricky gets nearsighted. Graves is going to find the kill. This is going to be 2 kills to Buffalo in the top lane, and Aatrox getting both, so massive swing in the top lane. Even though Ricky had all the pressure, both kills go to Aatrox.
Is there like a portal or something here? Did this second drake come early? How is it that everybody is just everywhere at any moment? The roams are all over the place. Rafa had the right idea getting there, but unfortunately so did Chulov. And now Alonso trying to just hold off on this top turret from taking any plate damage. But this is another one of those games where Ricky is going to be even at best, behind at worst.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite work out in the last game. We'll have to see what happens this time.
Expo going to be trading with Lissandra in the mid lane. Going to be a pretty big trade. Going to be a pretty low health for Lissandra, but Expo is going to walk away. Lulu came to show as well. Now Nene trying to find some poke. Once again, Graves going to show in the mid lane. Yeah, once again, Graves is going to show in the mid lane. Lissandra just hit level 6. Graves just going to try to find maybe a kill on Expo. Expo going to go for the dive in, but not going to find anything quite there. And don't want to risk any tower shots. Just play safe for the time being, especially already considering Graves has pretty much had his fingerprints all over this game in every single lane, so you don't want to give up anything too early. And first Dragon is up, but I don't suspect the Saints would try to rush this right now.
Like, I feel a sense of urgency here, because even Rock Boom came up for maybe an attempted maneuver towards that mid lane turret, or mid lane dive, which normally Rock Boom's just doing his thing, trying to get as far ahead as possible down in the bot lane. So you can tell that the Saints have their strategy just a little bit adjusted, to say the least, compared to past games.
Ricky, I think he is going to try to get the combo on the Aatrox. Aatrox with massive damage. Ignite's going to come through as well. I don't think Ricky's going to survive this. Actually, going to get the turn. He will end up walking away with his life. The Ignite did come through for both people there, and Ricky, I think, honestly lucky to get away there, but he'll definitely take that for the time being. Aatrox, you don't want him getting any more ahead.
Just goes to show how valuable getting those 2 eliminations is there for, and Prisoner just able to immediately get a bunch of extra damage built onto that Aatrox. Hits like an absolute truck. When those come, or when those cooldowns were ready, that was a chunk. Thankfully there for Ricky, Mordekaiser does have some defensive abilities as well. Yeah. Can't being able to pop that shield. And to be fair, go even in that trade after what looked really rough. But if Imprisoner can play around these cooldowns properly and like pick his spaces, I think Ricky can't win that 1v1. Yeah,
it would be very, very tough, especially Aatrox. So much sustain. Ricky, maybe if he was able to hit the R and do like double full combos, but especially Aatrox has that Iron Spike whip, so got a little bit of a slow there, get some natural damage as well. Now Cutie is going to get locked up by the LeBlanc stun here. They're going to try to all in under the tower. They might be able to find the kill. Going to get exhausted as Alonso. Going to be the res here for the Lissandra, but she should fall. The second she comes out is going to flash immediately. We'll see if the Ignite's enough, and it will be enough. Graves going to show mid, but not quite enough there. And St. Clair going to get a kill in the mid lane, and going to be a 1-0.
I mean, well played there from the Saints, and well played from LBC as well to nearly escape from that situation. Had to use the ultimate defensively. Of course, can use the ultimate on herself as well to just basically act like a Zhonya's and stall out time. But unfortunately, could not quite get there. But if there is any sort of saving grace, both of those eliminations that Rock Boom and Rafa were a part of went to Rafa. And I mean, we've seen mid lane Lulus go absolutely crazy, but you're not going to get that from the support role.
No, especially not in this meta with the way the damage is. And actually, once again, SUNY Buffalo is going to corral around that dragon. They are going to take first dragon to get Infernal Drake to start things off. Ricky still has a pretty good amount of pressure in this top lane, even though he's down a level and down a little bit as far as items. Just Mordekaiser, once again, just so hard to consistently trade with that W. You just get so much health. He's land as many Qs and Es as you can. Those W stacks fill up, and you can fill that health bar pretty quickly off a few waves. And now, maybe we're going to see the Saints try to contest Rift. Alonso actually is going to back, and might not be a great time to back. Maybe they have vision on the front side of the pit here, but Rift Herald might accidentally be given away if they recall here. And Ricky, is he going to get caught out by the Aatrox? No, he is going to start to walk back, but again, this Rift Herald is wide open for the taking.
Yeah, we do still see Chulov just kind of posturing around it. No, not posturing. He's
pulled it off,
still
they pulled it off vision.
Yeah, just got it right out of the pit, so Saints don't know what's going on. If they did have a ward in there, they'll know what's happening, but they're not going to know its health counts. And like you said, Alonso had already backed up at that point here, so that's going to be a big piece of utility in the pocket here for SUNY Buffalo. Uncontested once again.
Yeah.
To maybe shove down one of these lanes, get some massive gold out of the turret plates being destroyed, or just straight up destroy it.
Yeah, and that's one more thing for the Saints. That's kind of the worst start you can imagine. Once again, the first 2 objectives are going to fall in the first 10 minutes with relatively no resistance so far, and Ricky going to get traded out in the top lane there, and that's exactly not really the start you wanted. As far as kills and gold, not too bad, but just getting those early objectives and then the pressure you can create with the Rift Shroud. Ricky is going to have to flash as well. I think he did hit the R on Aatrox there, so just use the R to get away, because that Aatrox, when you're a couple items ahead and that much health, it's pretty much impossible to trade. And now, pretty big wave under the tower as well, Ricky. Try to safely CS here, try to get some free poke at the Aatrox, but Imprisoner and True Love setting up for a 2-man dive here.
They're going to see Expo coming around as well, but they have absolutely no mana here to really do anything. It's going to be more so of trying to get up their turrets. We have another battle down in the bot lane. It's going to be all coming out there from Young there on the Renata Glask, but it's not going to quite find the impacts that I think they were looking for. Barely going to see Ricky get out of there alive, but of course Expo, like I was saying, next to no mana, you have probably one move. How are you going to use it?
And this is very, very questionable. Expo, he teleported to the top lane to try to stop Ricky from dying, and then didn't recall when Ricky did. Got his recall stopped by the Graves, and now, more than likely, the Graves is going to catch up to him in a second or 2 here with the mana difference, and he will end up falling, but if he can hit that blast cone and try to delay this death as much as possible so Ricky gets back, but just overall, not a great play out of the Saints, and SUNY Buffalo just capitalizing on the mistake.
Yeah, it is going to be Expo getting out of there. If we could, of course, see it, but oh, it does get spotted out, though, but not going to get chased down any further. I think jungler not going to attempt that one the slightest. Instead, I like it. Go towards that mid turret. You know that the mid laner is literally running for their life, so you might as well just take your turret.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Use both your summoner spells trying to save the top laner, because you know that that top lane matchup, if Aatrox really gets going, already has the Gourd Drinker, things can get very out of hand very quickly, but if you burn both summoners, then the mid lane is wide open for the Rift, wide open to take some plates, and now SUNY Buffalo is going to keep trying to increase that gold lead in their back pocket. Maybe going to go for the kick here. Alonso is going to try to engage. Stun's going to come through on Expo. Alonso trying to find the kill here. We'll be able to find the kill on Graves. Graves very, very low. They will find the kill. Now Lysandra is stuck in a 3v1. We'll be able to find any kills, trying to focus Expo. That damage is coming in, but double kill coming through for LeBlanc, so somehow, some way, both summoners get burned and the Rift gets dropped mid, but St. Clair ends up with a winning trade.
So that just made up for the mistake up in the top lane here, as we're seeing Rock Boom actually finding some crits or something. This is a ton of damage, and this is exactly why we shake our head at Kalista as a champion. Because unfortunately, unless you have a bunch of Ren stacks available, it just does nothing for damage.
And that's the thing, it was almost an even 1-for-1 trade as far as attacks, but the damage was like 90% to 10. It wasn't even close there, and Alonso just try to hold this top lane now. Aatrox isn't getting another play there, 160 gold in the pocket. Now Expo and Rafa maybe try to make a play under Renata here. Renata gonna miss the hook. Just gonna try to maybe clear this mid wave and try to get some mid pressure back on that, because knowing their tower's gone now. And Alonso going to be clearing that top side jungle. Bot lane going to go on a little recall, but the St. Clair, they have a couple ways they're back in this game now, especially considering how they dropped the first 2 objectives.
Yeah, back in this game, well, they've basically completely tied it up on the gold side of things. They probably feel like they're behind still ever so slightly, but at least in terms of the gold counts, they're pretty much neck and neck here with SUNY Buffalo. This does give me Game 1 vibes. I know I was kind of mentioning it a little bit earlier, just based off of the draft alone, but it's kind of playing out a little bit the same way. SUNY was pretty strong early, but the Saints are fighting back a little bit quicker compared to game number 1, and keeping this extremely close still.
Yeah.
And with Rock Boom seeming to be more of an impact right now, and with Expo having 2 eliminations to jumpstart himself, it's still going to be very, very scary for SUNY.
Yeah, I think the win condition for SUNY is more than likely going to have to be this Aatrox at this point. He's got a about 20-25 CS lead on Ricky. Ricky slowly closing the gap now, but once again we see Graves. Alonso still a little bit behind on the CS. Level-wise, the same. He's got a lot of lane pressure. He's got the 4 assists, but that Aatrox is definitely going to be the issue for St. Clair. They have to find some way to address it in a team fight. Aatrox is going to walk down mid here and say, luckily St. Clair kind of keen to it, but they are going to end up basically sacrificing second dragon here to SUNY.
Yeah, Dragon on its way through, and you're exactly right. So not going to be any sort of challenge here in the slightest. Ricky looking to maybe try and push that top turret in. It is pretty close to going down. This is once again the 3rd game in a row. I do feel like that the Saints have just completely disregarded Dragon.
I would say 3rd game this series, even against GVU, we kind of saw the same. Even in the games they won, I don't think they maybe took them a little extra time to get the soul point, or it was like 4-2, but just every single time they're either in the wrong place at the wrong time, or maybe they have a different play in mind and the timing doesn't work out, but they just seem to be, something seems to be off about trying to like go around those objective bounties and trying to get those dragons. But luckily, 2 dragons, not going to be the end of the world. They're still able to contest the next couple that pop up, and maybe we'll see a skirmish topside river. Going to see a ward come through. Renata is going to back off there knowing something possibly waiting for her. So once again, objective's going to go down. We are going to see a pretty big stack up here in the topside river though.
Yeah, disregard dragons, acquire currencies. Apparently the Saints game plan here. As we do see a bit of a battle just on the outside and on the top side of things as well. And right now, PK Joe Biden, Ricky is getting pretty close to dunked on. They're going to have to wait to get out of the Shadow Realm. In fact, they're not going to even be able to help Ricky with that one. But they are going to be able to trade at least 1-for-1.
Yeah, and that's huge. Getting that kill for Tristana as well, helping get that little shutdown, get some gold in her back pocket once again. And say Tristana is the one champ this game. She can turn a team fight very, very quickly when things look very, very sour, especially considering that the team SUNY doesn't, they have some mobility, but they don't really have that much. If Tristana jumps away, they don't really have anything to catch her. Lissandra maybe can use that ability and catch out there, but besides that, they don't really have anyone to either jump or, you know, Graves can dash, but taking Graves out of a team fight is, you know, pretty risky. And once again, though, SUNY Buffalo, speaking of objectives, they're pretty much going to get free rift because I don't think Alonzo wants to contest this.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Other than the Callista, any sort of mobility on the side of SUNY Buffalo is attached to a pretty long cooldown. And now,
there we go.
With the Rift Herald being contested here by the Saints, get the crowd for a little bit of vision, and looks like we might very well have a skirmish for this one. It's pretty low, though.
Looks like it's going to be a Smite fight. We're going to have to see who comes out on top. Chulov going to be on the backside. Smite did go through. It looks like, let's see who picks the Rift up. Would be SUNY Buffalo picking up second Rift Herald. So St. Clair, excellent job to back them off there, but ultimately losing the coin flip. And now SUNY Buffalo, once again, Rift in the back pocket.
Yeah, it's going to be Chulov picking that one up once again, and now Saints maybe looking to try and make a quick beeline towards that mid lane turret, maybe try and take it out real fast. You're not going to take that out real fast. It's still like full health. So if anything, it's going to be a prisoner up here in the top lane doing some additional damage. Going to take that down, get a bunch of gold. That will put them back into the lead, only by a couple hundred gold at this point here. But do they ask for more? In fact, they are. Looks like Shelly's going to come to play for his top lane dive.
Yeah, and with Graves and Aatrox being the two probably tankiest champs they have, I definitely like the idea. You know they're not really going to get one-shot or bursted, especially just considering it's the Lulu and the Trista. You're not going to get bursted out too quickly, especially considering the Aatrox as well. Like, we're already having Gore Drinker, there's a couple of long swords in the boots, just not going to get chunked down. And excellent job there, put some extra gold in the back pocket while Ricky's trying to split push the bot lane, just trying to get that CS up, trying to keep some pressure in the other lanes, because right now, yeah, mid lane and top lane have been a struggle. Rockboom is going to get locked up by the Aatrox. Chulov is going to be really low on HP. Aatrox R is going to come through. He's getting chunked down by Tristana, though. Triss going to get the jump, going to find the kill. Rafa's actually going to get the finishing blow, but they are going to give chase to Graves just a little bit. But this Tristana is clearly going to be a problem for SUNY, and honestly, St. Clair, they got to keep playing around it.
Oh my goodness. How in the world did Saints end up with the elimination in that regard at all? It was absolutely crazy. Rockboom jumping around and stutter stepping like your stemmed up Marine from StarCraft, just absolutely unstoppable and shots ablazing. And now they're going to be able to continue this pressure by pushing down this top turret, the second one.
I will say that is the one really good thing though. Tristana hits very, very hard, and if she's basically 1v1 or 2v1 with Aatrox, she's almost guaranteed to win. If she gets out of his stun and he misses the first Q on her, she can just jump and land 5 to 6 autos for free, and then maybe she can find a second player, get a reset, and get back in there. And she's the only one that can honestly chunk him down as fast as she can right now. She has like 190 CS already through 18, so talking pro level CS right now. Already has the full Kraken Slayer, has Phantom Dancer. I think gonna maybe build toward the Infinity Edge as well, so it's gonna try to go full crit build. And honestly, the way she's been hitting already, she gets that crit damage up, it could be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and already has a couple eliminations and assists under his belt as well, so it's not going to take anywhere near as long as game number 1 to get online. You should be able to do pretty decently, not to mention too, yes, I know they're not like squishy, but we don't really have any super tanks here on the side of SUNY Buffalo. A lot smaller health pools to try and chew through.
Yep.
Each of those crits are going to just hurt that much more in terms of your percentage health. And Dragon coming around in 30 seconds here. Our Saints going to try and give up 3 in a row, and it doesn't look like it. They're looking for a vision and maybe a team fight.
Yeah, they're going to go for the dive. Chulov is going to be in that backside bush. Actually, is going to get all in, but a great job by SUNY Buffalo to turn that fight. Renata R is going to come through. Huge berserk and a knock up 4 of the members of the Saints, and now Ricky trying to get in there with the Mordekaiser, trying to find any type of kill here. Looks like he may have put someone in the Shadow Realm actually. Looks like he put Aatrox in the Shadow Realm, so just trying to, more of a spacing tactic than anything. Gonna miss the EQ. Now SUNY is gonna turn, knowing he's got cooldown. Ricky is gonna flash out. Expo is gonna dive in there with a LeBlanc. Gonna get exhausted as well, and is gonna flash away, so a lot of low health bars for both teams. No team breaking through. Now the Aatrox Mordekaiser is going to hit the stopwatch. Aatrox should be able to get the kill on Mordekaiser. Actually, Graves will get the killing blow, and just like that, SUNY Buffalo turned a pretty awkward fight there into something that was very, very lucrative.
Yeah, they're going to be able to snipe this dragon without question. And then even Prisoner there was trying to just add a little bit of extra pressure, making sure that the Saints didn't try any sort of funny business. This is going to be 3 dragons in a row, what feels like for the 3rd game in a row almost for SUNY Buffalo. Can they get this Lissandra?
Yeah, looks like they definitely will. Yeah, it's it. The stun came through there, but just not quite enough. 4v1 is going to be there for the dive. Also, if you're SUNY Buffalo, though, even though that death was maybe preventable, you got the 3rd dragon. And once again, we saw St. Clair last time when it was soul point. They sold their souls unintentionally, say no pun intended, to try to get down there and save that last dragon. So now SUNY Buffalo knows we can play a lot more topside pressure. We know St. Clair, once that dragon timer's up, they're going to be looking for it. Actually, St. Clair going to look for the 21-minute Baron, going to try to burst it maybe, actually. Maybe thinking twice about it. I was going to say that's a little bit ambitious to start that right away, but they are going to force a team fight. Chulub is going to be in there and try to chip up Alonso, and they are going to get Scuttle, though, so St. Clair does have topside vision. SUNY Buffalo was threatening, though.
Okay, at least on that last little engagement there against Lissandra, shout out to Rafa, the lifesaver, with that Lulu ultimate, keeping Expo alive. Without question, without it, would have been curtains there for Felix, so nice little play there from Rafa. But I'm glad that they second-guessed themselves a little bit on that Baron. Pretty much as soon as they tagged it, all of a sudden you saw Chulov there making a beeline towards it, so it's like, okay, this has vision. Let's not do that.
Yeah, and so far I think, yeah, this is the big thing. St. Clair is going to have to play around this bot lane because Ricky, the great thing with the Mordekaiser is you take Aatrox out of the fight and you can't kill your teammates, but you also can't contribute to the team fight. So if they just hit the R and both members kind of walk away, it's not that it's a useless R, but it's not really giving any value either one way or the other because you can't fight, and having that Mordekaiser in there to tank shots is like almost critical, especially considering you got Lee Sin, LeBlanc, Tristan, Lulu. Mordekaiser's kind of got to be the one to take the shot. It's going to be a stun here. Little baby going to hit the Everfrost as well. Huge damage on the Expo. Expo going to try to find the root under the tower. Going to be stuck in the bush though. Going to dive back on, get some damage. Tristan's actually going to jump in here, try to find the kill on the Aatrox. He's going to get chunked down. Going to get huge kick. Going to knock out the Aatrox. And Rothboom going to find the kill once more. So just as we said, get this bot lane fed and get them online. Alonso going to go for another kick. Tristana waiting in the wings with the Lulu. Maybe they're going to go for another dive here. I would not be surprised. Rothboom going to try to get the tag of Alonso. Yeah, oh, huge Renata R. Going to berserk all 3 members. And SUNY Buffalo going to clean up that team fight for the time being. They will find the kill on Alonso as well. So great job by SUNY Buffalo. Rafa, very bad spot as well. Maybe we'll be able to get out of here, but looks like SUNY Buffalo just going to zone off and maybe take Baron.
Yeah, and Young just saved that fight, and it allowed for Nyene there to just basically go open fire without any sort of contest, even if it was just the splittest of seconds, because let's be honest, that Renata Glasscalp does not last for a very long time. But just being able to sit there and do nothing, even for a split second, sometimes all you need.
Lissandra going to be 1 HP from this Baron. Saints are actually going to get the push off the Baron. Luckily, they had enough members to show. Aatrox is going to be walking out from this blue side, though, so they have to be very careful. Lulu walking right into vision, walked on top of a blue trinket, and Aatrox going to make her pay, going to take out Rafa, and once again, Prisoner getting yet another kill for the side of SUNY Buffalo. And the kills may be even, but the Dragons 3-0. Expo going to dive in there with the kick, or not the kick, the LeBlanc ability. Get some damage, stop the back, and very lucky to get out of there.
Yeah, just being a little pest right now, apparently. This is a dangerous
Whoa, getting the flash.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll take those.
I wouldn't have expected him to go twice back there either, so now Chulov going to just farm up the Grom, get some health back. Expo, once again, going to try to get the fake out there. Just will not let Chulov take 1 moment of rest, and honestly, not a bad play. Just try to stop that back and delay the pressure as much as you can. Tristana going to take up the tower, going to get huge tower damage, try to get the Aatrox. Expo, once again, just will not leave Chulov alone, and now Alonso going to be there for the backup, so St. Clair just trying to live in this top side jungle, but still getting a little bit of mid pressure, but Lissandra is on that bot push now, so bot tower will most likely fall.
Like the horror villain that just keeps popping out from around the corner over and over again, just stalking you, is how Expo is playing this LeBlanc right now. But it's quite funny to see as we see engaged in the mid lane. It's going to be Alonso's chance to go on through, but this Berserk is going to find its mark for at least a moment. But it's going to be Ricky challenging the top laner, not going to actually go very well for them. Young is going to go down as well, and with so many Saints, they've actually been able to pull this off. The teleport, though, is from Lissandra, is split pushing this whole time, and that's going to be the Saints' cue to actually get out of dodge for at least a second. Yeah. Never mind, how about a double?
Wow, Tristana going to find 2, get the reset as well. They might be able to take this this top tower as well. They are going to have a 4PO, so yeah, Lissandra, maybe we'll try to get in there and get some poke on the Tristana, but they're actually going to get an inhibitor for their trouble as well. Say 4 members dead for SUNY Buffalo, so the thing with St. Clair, they pick those really, really good times to win those team fights, and all of a sudden, you might lose the last 2 fights, but you win 1 team fight, and you get an inhibitor out of it.
Absolutely, and I do believe in that fight, if I recall correctly, the Renata Glosk ult was used while Ricky had Renata in the Shadow Realm.
Yep.
So I'm thinking to myself, why did that not berserk anybody? But Ricky, that was why. So just massive cooldown, massive ability, not in that fight. In theory, the Saints, 4 or 5 of them should have been locked down there for at least a moment. Would have absolutely turned this fight around. And very similar fashion to game 1. It's just a matter of like 1 or 2 ways a team fight swings might be the deciding factor in the game.
And Aatrox and Renata gonna maybe look for a 2v2 here. Mordekaiser is gonna be waiting there. So once again, 3v3, everyone posturing up, looking like they might want to start another fight. Rafa gonna be in this bush. Remember, it's gonna be the flash and stun.
That's rough.
Rafa's gonna fall. Fantastic play by SUNY Buffalo to jump out of the bush and find the kill right away. Expo gonna be on the edge of the wall there, try to find some pick. The Saints are gonna try to get a dragon out of this as well. They will end up getting the dragon, so they are gonna stop Soul Point, but will they win the team fight? Doesn't look like it. Joe Biden getting ticked down by Imprisoner, just the Aatrox damage being way too much for him right now. Gotta keep him locked up. Kalista gonna find the shutdown on Tristana, so gonna be a lot of gold in her pocket, and Ricky in not a great spot right here. Expo is there for the backup though. Maybe they can find a killer too. And Prisoner is gonna take out Ricky. Renata R is gonna come through. Not gonna find any value, but you don't really need it. It should be a Baron as well for SUNY Buffalo.
Okay, so you dodged the Dragon Soul, but now you're going to have to deal with a Baron buff. Just pick your poison, unfortunately, here for the Saints. It should go pretty well uncontested. Granted, at the same time, though, if Expo does realize what's going on, he could burst it down, but it looks like more focused on chasing Sandra out of here. So this is going to go on over. SUNY Buffalo, 3 buffs plus the Baron buff now to maybe do some serious damage to the base here.
Yeah, the one good thing the Saints have going for them is they don't have no wave for the side of SUNY Buffalo is really pushing toward their side, especially that top wave. They have super minions pushing, so Baron buff won't really be usable for at least 33% of the map. Bottom wave there could be shoved up mid lane as well. They do have the wave shoved up, so at least St. Clair, you hate to give up the Baron buff. The gold difference, it's like a 3 or 4k gold swing ultimately after things shake out, especially with the kills they got as well. But at least they have a little bit of wave pile, so the Baron isn't going to sting them quite as much right away, but definitely something you would have rather gotten.
Yeah, and at least that inhibitor at the top is still doing pressure, but yeah, that's exactly it. They're going to be a little bit nervous trying to move on out on the map here. We've seen how solid SUNY has been at picking people off, but pretty much everything about this game other than the Baron buff is even this gold lead is very minuscule, to say the least here. It's just been all objectives here, and it'd be very, very unfortunate if that ends up being a turning factor here in this game again after the Saints basically acknowledged that that was a problem earlier in the week.
Yeah, and this is the tricky thing for the Saints. You have to try to focus certain people in team fights, but it's almost like, do we want to try to take out the Aatrox? We know he's going to be the longest to take out, but he's the one causing us a lot of the problems. I think they would maybe, Ricky, R, and Renata last fight, or the one fight they won was, I think, definitely huge. I think he has to R either Graves or Renata, try to get some of that damage or get that W and that R out of the team fight as soon as possible, but it's going to be a huge wave shove here for the side of SUNY. Expo is going to try to get the all-in, not just get a little bit of damage and going to back off, but all the waves here for SUNY Buffalo are crashing top of mid now, so it's going to be either a forced team fight or SUNY Buffalo going to have to try to make some play here with this Baron. Looks like Imprisoner is going to walk up into the bush, but just going to keep trying to shove these waves. His stun is going to come through Everfrost as well. Expo is going to fall for his trouble, looks like. Going to flash away, but he will get chunked down, and LBC will find the kill, and now going to be a fight in the mid lane. Ricky going to try to find the EQ, is going to use the R in the Graves. Renata R is going to come through, obviously not going to get any value on the Mordekaiser. Going to be trying to chunk down this Graves. Graves still a decent amount of HP. Ricky might be able to find the kill. Stopwatch is going to come through. Rockboom doing a lot of damage to the Triss backline. Will find the kill on the Graves. Gonna have to hit the stopwatches. Ricky, Tristana trying to find some damage. Alonzo gonna land the kick. Now Rockboom has to get out of here some way, somehow. He is gonna get taken down. The Kalista finding 2 kills, double buffs. It's gonna be the ace for SUNY Buffalo, and it very well likely might be the game as well with this Baron buff still.
Yeah, between the Baron buff, having the lane push on the top, and here in the middle, this very well could seal the deal. Unfortunately for the Saints, they were basically attacked on all sides during that team fight. They had their opportunity to strike. Unfortunately, therefore, Felix instantly taken down in the top lane before that team fight even had the chance to get started. And the Saints will be dropping out of HUE Fest 2022 here as SUNY Buffalo arguably makes the upset.
Yeah, SUNY Buffalo, games 2 and 3, they came to play these last couple matches, and we saw clearly the Aatrox getting online very early. Even if he doesn't have to snowball his lane completely, he gets to this point where he just becomes a nuisance, and you can't really deal with him besides having the Tristana. And that's the thing, once Rockboom died in those last 2 team fights, you knew the team fight was immediately over.
Yeah, and just unfortunately, there wasn't, like, the impact just wasn't there for certain areas, and I do believe a lot of that just had to do with not the ease of execution. The fact that the SUNY Buffalo composition just had more reliability, similar to what I was talking about during the the champ select section, as soon as one person got picked off, no matter what, this is a 4-on-5.
Yep.
And we saw, especially in that last team fight, I was very surprised to see LBC actually be able to burst the LeBlanc, because normally I think Lissandra, I don't think of a burst mage. Usually it's like 1 or 2 cycles of cooldowns in order to really get an elimination on somebody one-on-one. But was able to absolutely do so there versus Expo, and then there was nothing they can do in that fight. Saints tried to take the advantage that they had. They had a brief moment where it was a 4-on-3, but then Aatrox came on down, the teleport came out, so then all 5 were there, and they literally had a circle around the Saints. There was nowhere they could have escaped. They tried their damnedest, but they will fall today. Yeah,
and that was the tough thing. You really had to play around that Mordekaiser if you wanted to win the game, and Mordekaiser into Aatrox right now, not really a super easy matchup considering Aatrox. He gets a little lunge forward when he has the Q, so he's basically what Mordekaiser's kit is with a little more range and obviously equal sustain, sometimes more, especially when he gets ahead early. And we saw Ricky kind of got behind. He had a little bit of good pressure early in lane, but once those 2 ganks came through, Aatrox pretty much owned the top lane, and he was every single team fight. When he was there, you could see the Saints. They didn't really want to fight, and here's the thing. Once Ricky dies in those team fights, if Aatrox still lives, there's no other tanks on the Saints to really sit in there and face check anything, to wait either for a TP or a second wave of CD, so just there wasn't really anything they could do, and we just saw completely that SUNY, their team fighting, and the way they fought around what the champs could do and what their capabilities were was just better today.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the stats here from the end game screen right now, and it just basically echoes exactly what you're talking about here, because Imprisoner leading the lobby for the most part, getting second in this one here with 23,000 damage. Like long shot from anybody else on the team, long shot from majority of the Saints, with the exception of Rockboom, who was borderline 30k. And it did help that Rockboom was able to get online way quicker this game with the Tristana, but unfortunately just the lockdown style, the control that SUNY Buffalo had, made it very uncomfortable for him to dance around a team fight, even with the extremely long range that Tristana has. You saw him jumping all over the place, trying to find his marks, but unfortunately they have locked him down just enough to just pile on them, and there's nothing you can do.
And that's the problem with playing like 3 or 4, I would say, 4 squishies plus having the 1 tank. If that tank falls, SUNY Buffalo is no longer afraid to take any of those fights. LeBlanc does a decent amount of damage. You're not really as scared of the Lee Sin kick if you don't have that much backline damage. All you have to do is kind of get out of the Tristana after Ricky's dead, and there's not really another win condition for a team fight for St. Clair and SUNY Buffalo. They realized that. We saw Rockboom. He tried his hardest to bounce around there, try to get the resets. It worked a couple times, but ultimately just got focused a little too hard. Say, bring in the Everfrost on Lissandra, just have that extra little wave of CC, and SUNY Buffalo, just great job to play with what they had there. And St. Clair, say, the bot lane played great, but it's just not having that second or third tank that has some CC to like extend those fights a little longer. So St. Clair, it's kind of all or nothing in the first wave.
Well, a problem that I noticed as well is it's not even necessarily that the tank went down. It's that the tank is nowhere near you, and that is also a bit of a caveat to Tristana's, because you do kind of feel like with that rocket jump that you can bounce around the team fight and be fine. But sometimes you'll bounce yourself into situations that are so far away from your front line that they can just ignore the front line, take you instead. And like, it did seem like it happened a good handful of times, unfortunately. And just positioning wise, that's where the Saints got bit. They won game 1 because of their positioning. And unfortunately, game 2 and 3 falter, as those were all very, very close games for the most part. Game 2 was a little bit of a runaway there from Buffalo for a second, but this was very, very winnable. But Buffalo just kept their composure, played to the book, and as soon as they had the advantage, they pressed. Otherwise, they just waited. Games
3 was hanging on a knife's edge there for a while, but St. Clair just, once again, the objectives kind of being the bane of their existence, because we saw that Baron ended up winning off the Baron push at the end there, and we saw, like, even though St. Clair took the first inhibitor, they had huge waves shoved in every single, like, a lane pretty much. Once you get that Baron buff and you clear 1 or 2 waves, you're immediately playing on that back foot, and once SUNY Buffalo knew they had the Baron buff, even though they didn't get soul point, they made St. Clair at least kind of take a fight on their terms. They're like, okay, we'll give the Dragon, we're going to be able to take Baron, get wave pressure, and then they just just creating that pressure off the lanes and off of the objectives, knowing like St. Clair has to fall in for this Dragon, they have to all in. We can now shove these waves, wait for the Baron to come up, and then try to push in, and eventually they won the game because of it.
Absolutely. But with that, I think for the most part that concludes majority of our summer coverage of like the collegiate scene for now. And for HUE Fest specifically, that's going to be it, unless all of a sudden I get paged about something maybe happening next week, which, let's be honest, I'm not going to commit to that because you never know. It very well could be something happening next week for all I know, with the spontaneousness that Collegiate can sometimes bring. But in theory, we've gotten a bit of a sneak peek of our teams moving forward for both Overwatch, Rocket League, as well as League of Legends, of course. And I know, at least personally, I'm still extremely excited. I know this is just the beginning. Some of these players, like, just kind of joining us in practices and whatnot over like the last month or two.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the squads?
Definitely like to see it. League is the one game where it's kind of hard to see, like, especially with 1 week of like playing with new players and the meta changing every couple weeks, and just say having the summer off and bringing everything in. So I think we definitely saw some bright spots from, say, Overwatch, Rocket League, and League. So just trying to find that consistency as we get to the semester, maybe settling on those comfort picks. Because if you look at the drafts from the last 5 games, it looked like totally different teams drafted them almost. So just trying to find what they like, trying to see what they might play off of best. So definitely a good look for the summer. And I know they're all going to gear up, get into boot camp the next couple weeks, and try to iron out those kinks for the start of the semester.
Absolutely. But with that, it is time to close things out for now. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in and supporting your classmates, friends, and family, whoever it may be, and supporting us here on the Saints Gaming CA channel. But with that, we will be calling it a night. Thank you so much. Just follow our social medias and catch you next match.